Hey everyone, Decav13 here, and welcome back to some more Let's Play Fate Stay Night. Alright, we're rapidly approaching the end with only 2 days left now. Sakura has succumbed to the shadow. She's taken Ilya. She almost killed Shiro and Rin. Ryder protected us, though. And, well, it was all thanks to Ilya's intervention that we survived anyway. Zoken, that fucking piece of shit, still out there. And I think probably best part of last episode, Shinji's dead. Let's go. So glad it finally happened. Anyway, going on to day 15 now. So let's see what is waiting for us here. Finale replay. What the fuck? Hell of Valentine's Day. Limited. Time to make a final choice. It's clear who will win this battle. No, it would be more accurate to say that it was decided long ago. The conclusion was ordained from the moment I lost her.
ただシロ、あれの相手をするということは最も困難な道を行くということ。それを今から胸に刻んでおいてください。
The girl who fought by your side and acted as your sword until the very end said that. On the night you parted ways, you promised her that you'd go on fighting by yourself to put a stop to the shadow and this war. You went through hell. You survived it for a reason. You're still alive for a reason. You didn't miraculously survive while everyone else died. They all gave up their lives so that one person might live. You hated that. To break that reality, you told yourself that you would become a righteous hero who saves everyone. You don't know what his tears meant. He destroyed the Holy Grail, rejected what he'd been fighting for, and desperately dug through the rubble to find a survivor. No matter what he was thinking, his tears saved you and showed you a new path. It became a lonely path. He showed you a dream as he walked ahead of you, and then he died. Kiritsugu Emiya took the sins he never atoned for to his grave. He couldn't save anyone. So all he wanted you to become was he wanted you to become someone who could save others.
お前が今までの自分を否定するのなら、そのツケは必ずお前自身を裁くだろう。
You know that. You've spent your entire life trying to redeem yourself. You've killed yourself for the last 10 years believing in that idea. Your dead self just keeps nibbling away at your living self, like worms eating a corpse. And this was the embodiment of your sin. It's pointless to mourn a saint. As long as Archer's arm is attached to you, it will devour you and force you to atone. It will bring you a ghastly fate worse than death. Yes. Even if you were to lose your life that hangs by a thread, you will not simply die. And yet why?
シロだってわかってるでしょ。全部を選ぶことはできない。助けられるのは一人だけなんだって。
For a long, long time, that girl searched for her father with only vengeance in her heart. When you asked her to move in with you, she smiled sadly. She told you it wasn't possible. The two of us cannot live long together. And that's why.
それじゃあね。楽しかったよ、お兄ちゃん。
This is the final choice. Will you? I'll save Sakura. I'll take Ilya back.
当たり前だ。 勝敗が消したがどうした。そんなんで後に引けるか。いい気合だ。その様子では入院の必要はないな。
なんで琴峰。
それは私のセリフだ。凛とお前、二人して玄関に捨てられていてな。
Probably Ryder.
捨て子にしては可愛げがないので見捨てたかったが、揃いも揃って衰弱しきっていた。放っておけば死体が2つ並ぶことになる。教会としては体裁が悪いのでな。
I really don't want to know what you find adorable, man. Like, I reorient to my surroundings. This is the chapel of Kotomine's church. Nothing feels wrong with my body. I was drained dry of my strength and Sakura's shadow swallowed me, but I'm recovering now. I passed out in the backyard. Tosaka probably did too. So it stands to reason that Ryder carried us here. Ryder doesn't have any way to heal an injured human. As far as she knows, Kotomine is the only one who could help us. How much time has passed? The time right now is...
深夜の3時過ぎだ。ここに運ばれてから12時間ほど眠っていたことになる。
12時間って丸々半日じゃないか。
I stand up from the pew I was lying on. This is no time to be taking a nap.
琴峰、遠坂は俺と一緒に倒れてたんだろう。あいつは。
凛は遠坂の家で休ませている。お前は体力だけだったが、あれは魔力を根こそぎ奪われていたからな。通常持ち直すには7日はかかるが、遠坂の父はあれによく馴染む。順当に行けば明日の昼には意識を取り戻すだろう。
We don't have Rin to help us anymore.
そうか。命に別状はないんだな。
For now.
ない。あの土地の土は特別だ。何しろ吸血種が寝床にしていたいわくつきの霊脈だ。遠坂の後継者である凛なら一晩埋めておけば得らず口を取り戻すだろう。
I think I just heard something really wild, but I won't pry into it. I'll just hope that he didn't literally bury her alive.
ならいい。世話になった。
I'm going to leave the church. I know what I need to do. I'll chase Sakura. I'll bring Ilya and Sakura back. I'll protect the people I love. So what if the war is all but lost? I still have the strength to fight. I can't let myself stop here. There's no time. I'm gonna be pressed for time even though I'm just going home to arm myself. No, the opponent isn't something I can beat with any weapons I might find at home. Sakura and Saber. Also Zoken an assassin. If Zoken is after Ilya, then he has all of his pawns in hand.
それでどこに向かうつもりだ、エミヤシロ。私には事情がつかめないのだ。
どこに向かうもない。イリアは俺たちをかばって自分から桜に同行したんだ。清掃が欲しかったら城に来いって言っていた。清掃とやらが何かは知らないが、行き先。
清掃だと。いや、それ以前に麻藤さくらは敵に回ったのか。ではこたびの聖杯戦争、すでに勝敗は決したということか。
I hate to admit it, but Kotomine is right. Zoken and Sakura. Sakura is unquestionably the superior master, but she can't defy Zoken's will. I don't know what she plans to do with Ilya, but it's over for her if she runs into Zoken. No matter what Sakura does to oppose him, he can take control of her with the crest worms inside her body.
そんなことより、なんでついてくるんだよ、お前。
お前一人では荷が重かろう。イリアスフィールをさらわれたというの
Oh, you're coming with?
私も静観はしておられる。
His reply shocks me to a halt. What did this guy just say?
一人じゃ荷が重いって。俺に手を貸すっていうのか、お前が。
不服か。相手は最大勢力だ。
You know, honestly, we've fought him before, and he can be a bit of a help.
凛の助力がない今、私程度でもありがたいはずなのだが。
Yeah, it's gonna need to be more than just Shiro and, well, just Shiro by himself. I don't have a problem with it. I'm not complaining about having help on my side, but
なんでだよ。あんたが俺に手を貸す理由はないはずだ。
もちろんこれは今回限りのことだ。イリアスフィールを救い出した後も協力者などと思われて
but you do want to stop Zoken, right?
お前と私は最後まで相入れぬ関係だ。
なあ。
なに、単純な利害の一致だよ。加えて私のサーバントは全て
Yeah,
奴に
both of your servants were killed by
理由
Sakura.
としてはそれで十分ではないか。
There's no lie in Kotomine's words. A lot has happened between us, but he hasn't lied to me once so far. Yeah, honestly, accept his help.
勝手にしろ。あんたが何を考えてるかは知らないが、造剣をよく思っていないことだけは同じだからな。
なるほど、その共通点は大きいな。確かにあの老人には少なからず縁がある。
I go down the hill path. We leave the church together, not looking at each other. By the time the hired car takes us to the forest, the sun is starting to come up.
ここで待て。日付が変わるまでに私たちが戻ってこなければ帰っていい。
We have the black car wait for us on a road near the forest entrance. Kotomine hired a driver to take us here.
で、協力するって何を協力するんだよ。
差し当たっては足だな。
After a brief exchange, Kotomine promptly called for a chauffeur. To be honest, it was a big help. There aren't many taxis who would be willing to drive a high school student to the edge of town after 3 a.m.
戻ってくる者がそこの少年だけということもある。
Oh?
その時は良くない状況だ。私の帰りは待たず、全速で町に戻れ。
Kotomine dispassionately gives the driver instructions. The driver nods silently and opens the trunk.
エミヤ、獲物だ。も
He tosses me a stick-like object.
ってなんだこれ。剣か。
The stick turned out to be a thin sword. From what I know, it's similar to a Western rapier. It's specialized at thrusting, not cutting. But the blade is pretty thick, so it feels hard to use. It's like a longer version of the dirks assassin uses.
獲物ってこれ。
奴は銃を好んだがな。あいにく今はサブマシンガンしかない。幽霊どもに鉛玉は効かんし、お前には扱いづらいものだ。魔術使いのお前にはそちらの方がらしいだろう。
Are you gonna go in with submachine guns? I give it a swing. It's oddly heavy. The sword is less than a kilo, but it's obviously weighted towards the tip. It's more like an arrow than a sword.
教会専用の武器か。何か魔力を感じるけど。
国剣という。
Yeah, black
さ
cake.
らに言うのなら魔術ではなく秘跡だ。霊体を相手にするのは我々の1000倍特許だからな。その刀身にお前の魔術を乗せればサーバントといえど多少は有効だろう。
Only if you hit them, of course, he adds unnecessarily.
それを使うような事態にならないよう心がけろ。行くぞ。イリアスフィールが連れ出されてからじき1日経つ。今頃はもぬけの殻かもしれんが、その時はその時だ。的藤さくらがどこに向かったのか、その手がかり程度は見つけ出せる。
Unlike me, the priest strides into the forest unarmed. I take a deep breath. I put the church sword back in its sheath and follow Kotomine. I'm the leader now. I rely on my memory to find the Einsburn castle. I couldn't reach it the last time I was here. On the way to the castle, I ran into Ilya fleeing the shadow. I check my left arm. It's completely different from the last time I was here. I was helpless as the shadow nearly slaughtered me. That hasn't changed. I have no way to beat Sakura. No, the Shadow. And it has Saber on its side, too. If I run into them, I'm done. The only way to take Ilya back is to ambush them. I need to retrieve Ilya without Sakura noticing me. In that case, what should I do? How should I deal with Sakura now that she's changed? How can I turn her back into the Sakura I used to know?
待て。的を桜を連れ戻そうなどと思ってはいないだろうな。
思ってるに決まってるだろう。俺は桜を助けるために。
やめておけ。今の我々では的を桜、いや、あの黒い影には太刀打ちできん。出会った瞬間、話し合いの余地もなく飲み込まれるだけだ。それはお前の方が分かっているのではないか。
I mean, Kotomine is right. The only thing we can do right now is just take Ilya and run. Well, it's true that Sakura wouldn't be any different from the way she was in the backyard. But still,
今回は諦めろ。イリアスフィールをこちらで保護すれば、まだ猶予はできる。的桜と話がしたいのなら、彼女に対抗できる力を用意
It's not like
し
we're
て
trying to kill Sakura here and now. We just need to get Ilya back. Sakura has an incredible amount of magical energy. The only one who might be able to do that is Tosaka. My only role right now is to project the jeweled sword she mentioned, so we can use it against Zoken in the shadow.
わかった。今はイリアを救うのを第一にすればいいんだろう。
そうだ。では行くぞ。時間がない。
I climb my cheeks to motivate myself. This isn't the time to be whining. I'm going to save Ilya. Sakura said she'd kill Ilya. I won't let Ilya die, and I won't let Sakura kill her. All I can do now for now is separate Ilya from Sakura. I'll just focus on that for now. We arrive at a familiar place. It's been a little over 2 hours since we entered the forest. The sun is already well into the sky, but the forest is still shrouded in mist.
いるな。この森に満ちた呪いは間違いなく奴のものだ。
Kotomine says something strange as we run. Curses filling the forest. Can you see those?
琴峰、呪いってあんたには桜の気配がわかるのか？
わかるというよりは共鳴だ。それはいいが。
Oh yeah, because you were soaked in the
万
mud
が一的
too.
を桜と戦うことに
So
な
yeah,
れ
you would be able to sense
ば、
her.
私は撤退する。
Wait, doesn't that mean she can sense you too?
お前はともかく、私では酷化した的を桜を傷つけられん。戦ったところで勝ち目はない。
I mean, that goes for me too, but anyway.
待て、国家ってなんだ？桜は桜だ。おかしな影に取り憑かれてるだけですぐに
正常になるか。それは以前に説明しただろうに。的を桜を元に戻すには彼女と影を切り離すしかない。方法があるとすれば2つ。あの影の本体を消滅させるか、的を桜が影を実体化させるのを待つか。今のお前にあれを倒す術はない。お前にできることは影がこの世に生まれ落ちるまで的を桜の精神をつなぎ止めることだけだ。
I don't know how to do that. Sakura's body is covered in command spells. If that's the darkening Kotomine mentioned, doesn't that mean she's turning into the shadow with each passing minute?
琴峰、影の実体化ってのは桜が影そのものになるってことか？
いや、多少の共感はあるだろうが、影の本体は聖杯の中にいる。的を桜を変貌させているものは聖杯の中にいるものだが、それとてあくまで彼女の影なのだ。彼女なくして影は存在できない。形のない本体は的を桜の影になることで物質界に存在する。的を桜という不完全な聖杯でなければ、中にいるものはこの世に生まれることはない。だが産んでしまえば、それは的を桜とは別のものになる。 離れたのなら彼女を汚染する呪いも止まるだろ
琴峰、生まれるって言うけど、桜の中にそいつはいるのか？
う。まさかそうであれば話は簡単だろう。体内にいるものを摘出してしまえば事足りるのだから。影の本体は聖杯の中にいる。的尾さくらはあくまでそれに栄養と実像を与えるだけのよりしろだ。
だから桜は聖杯なんだろう。どういうことだよそれ。聖杯っていうのは何個もあるのか？
あるとも初めに説明しただろう。この地には聖杯があり、その聖杯を人間が用意した聖杯に降霊させるのだと。大元の聖杯、聖杯戦争という儀式の法則を司る大頭脳たる魔法陣、それがアインツベルンと遠坂マキリが用意したこの土地にある聖杯だよ。
この土地にある聖杯。
The laws, like summoning servants, making masters fight, and summoning the Holy Grail. If the Holy Grail war on this land was artificially created, then it stands to reason that there was a man-made cause. Meaning that if we can find this big magic circle and destroy it, it'll get rid of the shadow hurting Sakura.
琴峰、その場所を知っているのか？
予測はつく。正確な入り口を知りたければ凛に聞け。この土地の管理者は遠坂だ。200年前アインツベルンが遠坂と手を結んだのは儀式の場所を確保するため。後継者である凛ならば教えられているはずだ。もっともそれはイリアスフィールを取り戻してからの話だ。このままゾウケンの手にイリアスフィールが渡れば、的尾さくらもイリアスフィールも聖杯として使い捨てられる。的尾ゾウケンは大元の聖杯など使う気はない。奴にしてみればイリアスフィールと的尾さくらさえいれば事足りるのだ。大元の聖杯を壊すというお前のアイデアもそれでは何の意味も持たん。
バカ言うな。そんなの考えてなんかないぞ。
That's exactly what you were thinking.
そうなのか。お前にとってはそれが最も現実的な打開策だと思うのだがな。実行しないとはおかしな男だ。
うるさいな。そういうお前こそ何だって黙ってたんだ。初めからそんなものがあるって言ってくれれば今頃。
とっくに起動式を壊していたか。そううまくいかんさ。
Yeah.
何しろ私の
He
目
has a
的は
very
起
active
動式
interest
の
in you
成
not
就だ。
doing that.
お前に起動し言っただろ。イリアスフィールを助け出した後は敵同士だと。私の目的はお前たちとは違う。興味があるのは的尾さくらから変化するもの、いや的尾さくらになろうとしているものだ。ゾウケンのような望みはない。
ふざけんな。あんたもゾウケンと同じだ。桜を利用して得体の知れないものを作ってそれを自分のものにしようとしているじゃないか。
自分のもの？まさか生まれた後のことなど興味はないし、そもそも人の手で御し得るものではなかろう。現れるのは地獄という現象だ。的尾さくらがそれになれば私とて例外なく死に絶える。
The hell? And this guy's goal is to.
正気かお前。そこまで分かっていて、自分だって殺されるって分かっていて、桜をそんなものにしたいのか。
そうだ。私の役割は誕生するものを祝福すること。それはどのような状況、どのような対象であろうと変わらない。ここに生まれようとする命と意志がある。それを阻むことはできない。エミヤ、この世に純粋な願いがあるとすれば、それは生まれたいという一念だけではないのか。
だけど桜に取り付いたやつは
悪ではない。人間はただあるだけで幸福を得られる生き物だ。生きれば生きるほど違う幸福を知り、 より高度で複雑な快楽を学習する。だが人間とて初めから幸福であることはない。胎児には幸福が何であるか理解する知識。人間はゼロから何が楽しいのかを学び、何が正しいのかを受け入れる機能がある。始まりはゼロだ。そこには善悪もなく、この世にあることを許されたという事実しかない。善か悪か、どちらに分かれるかは人間の学習次第だ。責任があるとしたら、それはその人間を育んだ環境と自らを育てた自己だけだろう。そのものが生まれ出ることには何の罪もない。故にそれが悪魔であろうと誕生を祝福する。私は今までそのように生きてきた。この生き方は私のものだ。的を桜から生まれ出るものが地獄であろうと、それを変えることこそ難しい。
I can't understand what he's saying. I can tell he's sincere. He says that he's going to bless the evil trying to be born from Sakura even if it kills him. I can never accept what he's saying. Still, it's true that he's helping me rescue Ilya and that he's trying to set Sakura free from Zoken. His ideas are incompatible with mine. We can't coexist. But right now, we have the same objective.
信頼していいんだな。
共闘すると言った。私の背中はお前に任せる。
His answer is firm. That's all. I've gained the best ally I could ask for right now. Now it's time to think about saving Ilya and safely escaping from this forest. Black flames envelop her. The extravagantly built hall crumbles in a merciless, senseless struggle. The rising flames are like a heat haze. A once shapeless shadow pulverizes the walls and floors in time with its host's anguish. The dark haze dances to the melody. She stands in the middle of the hall, hunched over. Each time she scratches in anguish at her throat, the ancient castle's beauty crumbles further. But there's nothing to grieve. This castle was always empty. It's a long-forgotten winter fort. Nobody sees it, nobody lives in it, so it doesn't matter if it's destroyed. The hall is becoming a kingdom of shadow. In its center is a suffering woman who is both monarch and slave. It has been a day since she brought Iliasville here. Sakura Mato's transformation is approaching its final phase. She is merging with the shadow, and her mere physical existence in this world is torture. Her body is racked by pain. Her cognitive circuits are being rewritten with destructive impulses. If that was the end of her darkening, she could tolerate it. She is accustomed to physical pain and torment, but the heartbreak of having her very being denied is new. The shadow cannot exist in this world. It cannot receive any of the world's blessings. She tears at her throat. Bluntly put, the girl undergoing the darkening process cannot breathe. The air is toxic. For Sakura, who is transforming into a deep-sea dwelling shadow, the Earth is no different from the vacuum of outer space. So she dances. She forgets herself, loses her sanity, and feels fury at everything she can see. It's suffocating, she thinks. She blames the uncaring, unknowing world for her own misfortune.
さて、そろそろ頃合いかのあれは。思いのほか、的を桜であり続けたが、あと一押しで肉の器になり変わるじゃろうて。
Two shadows watch this sight. An old mage Zoken Mato and his servant assassin.
あと一押しか。その言葉、とうに聞き飽きたぞ魔術師殿。すでに勝敗は決したのだ。私以外のサーバントなど不要。早々に残る2体を取り込ませてしまえばよかろう。
分かっておる。だがあれは自ら取り込んだサーバントを殺そうとせん。小娘の浅知恵か、
Not
単
good
に度
berserker
胸がない
remains
だ
there.
けなのか。セイバーもバサーカーも桜に囚われたままよ。殺してしまえばよいものを存命させておる。
なんと駒はセイバーだけではないというのか。
うん。おそらくわしに対する牽制なのだろうが、千両。サーバントを抱え込めば込むほど、あれは多くの魔力を聖杯から引き出す。起動式から魔力を受信する小聖杯ならではの魔力補給だが、あれはサーバントを生かす限り変貌を早めておるのだ。わしが手を下さずとも、じき理性を食われ、理想通りの道具になろう。
The old mage laughs, sneering down at the suffering girl. There's affection in his eyes. He does love. His experimental subject has exceeded his expectations and will soon bless him with his long-sought immortality. How could he not love her? In the old mage's eyes, Sakura Mato is a beautiful bride. No matter how she struggles, she will become his. Ew. It doesn't matter that she's collecting power, controlling more servants, and attempting to preserve her sanity. 11 years ago, Zoken obtained control over Sakura's fate. All it would take for the old mage to kill Sakura is to blink. But the White Skull is different. As an ominous symbol and a gust who carries death, he is sensitive to others like him.
魔術師殿は軽視しているが、さて。
Will this go as well as he hopes? The situation will not change even if the girl loses her mind. That thing reacts to hostility and bloodlust. In that sense, the girl raving beneath them will be no different even after she loses her sanity. Zoken Mato is conceited. Assassin doubts that the girl will be as obedient as Zoken thinks, once her reason is gone.
魔術師殿、真実、あの娘を御しうる方法があるのだろうな。あれの外敵に対する防御本能は過剰に過ぎる。理性をなくし、敵味方の判別がつかなくなれば、魔術師殿の声も届くまい。そうなっては殺気を消す程度では近寄れ。あれは自分を殺すという結果を先読みし、外敵を排除する類のものだ。
ほう、なるほど、それは頼もしい。器としてますます安心できるというものよ。
The old mage cackles. The White Skull watches the crumbling hall in silence. To be honest, he does not agree with the mage's thinking. His goal may be immortality, but something seems twisted about his course of action and his methods. No, he's always been a rotten human being. It's natural that the old man would be a maniac, but there doesn't seem to be any consistency to his methods.
聞いたか、アサシン。助けてください、おじいさまと。よいぞよいぞ、その愛玩、11年前に帰るようじゃ。
I really want him to get squashed like the repulsive little insect he is. Like grandfather, like grandson.
世界そのものに否定される圧迫、さぞ苦しかろう、さくら。だが耐えよ。お前の体は耐えられるとも。思い出すがよい。11年にわたる孤独の日々を。何千という攻めくに耐えたのは何のためだ。何万という虫どもに体を預けたのは何のためだ。そうだ、その程度の痛みお前には何ら問題はない。そのように育て上げた、そのように鍛え上げたのだ。
Apparently, the old mage can hear what the girl is saying. Assassin only hears her agony, but she does seem to be begging her grandfather for help.
おお、助けるとも助けるとも。お主はわしの作品じゃ。最後まで見届けて死んぜよ。いやいや、だが助けられるのは肉体だけじゃ。11年の鍛錬において、お主の精神だけはついてこなかったからの。そう、受け入れることで苦痛から逃れたお前では、その怨嗟には耐えられまい。だが安心するがよい。肉の頑強さだけはわしの保証付きじゃ。耐えられる耐えられる。お主の肉ならば見事にアベンジャーを待とうであろう。
The old mage keeps laughing. Assassin steps back, watching heartlessly.
ん？どこに行く朝日？万が一ということもある。お主にはあれからわしを守ってもらわねばならん。
それは構わんが、黒い聖杯ばかりにかまけ白い聖杯を自由にさせるのはどうか。ようやく手に入れた正当な聖杯をなぜあのように遊ばせておく。
おお、そのことか。何？イリアスフィールは我らに協力的じゃ。もとより聖杯として門を開けるためだけに存在する娘。その目的が果たされるのならとおとなしくうなずきよったわ。そういぶかしがるでない。お主の求める聖杯はあちらの娘だ。歴史に名を残し自らがオリジナルになる。記録としての永遠を望むウヌの願いはアインツベルンが叶えてくれよ。だがそれにはあの娘に本来の姿になってもらわねばならん。わしはホムンクルスは管轄外でな。あやつらが清掃を整えるまでは好きにさせておけばよい。
無理強いはしないということか。だがそのような余裕が我らにあるのか
あるとも。もはや我らに敵はいない。エミヤの小せがれと遠坂の小娘が生きておるのは意外じゃったが、どうということもなかろう。あれほどの力の差を見せられ、歯向かうようなバカ者はおらぬ。
You underestimate Shiro Emiya, old fuck?
そのような杞憂で事を急ぎ、イリアスフィールに死なれでもしたら取り返しがつかん。天の門を開けるはあやつの責務だ。我らは慈悲をもってその仕事を全うさせてやればよい。アサシン。
そこまで。どうやらそのバカ者がいたらしい。
Well, Assassin realized it.
ん？
The white skull disappears a moment later. The killer sensed intruders and didn't hesitate to leave the castle. The enemy has already left the building. They slipped through the careless old mage's grasp and are headed for the castle gate.
おお、どうあっても死にたいというのか、小僧。
But he isn't careless. No matter what happens, he will not let Iliasfil escape. In essence, the long-held wish of the Einsburns has been placed on her shoulders. That pale girl is willing to cooperate with Zoken, even without his urging. And they think they can take her and leave? How laughable. Once she leaves the forest, Iliasfil will surely reappear in the heart of the Holy Grail, where it all started.
ああ、家に放任していたのだが仕方あるまい。出番だぞ、さくら。イリアスフィールなくしてお前が救われることはない。その苦しみから逃れたいのであれば遠慮せず蹂躙してくるがよい。
The old mage cackles, and then his presence vanishes. A shadow crouches in the hall. The shadows have covered the entire hall. It is a black swamp, and two bodies appear in its muck. The girl feels no pain. She hasn't gotten accustomed to the poison. All she can think is,
そう来てくれたんですね、先輩。
her dark joy overcomes her grim suffering.
あの神父さんも一緒なのね。バカな人。自分から食べられに来るなんて。
She lifts a finger. It points towards the castle gate where the intruders are desperately trying to escape.
言って。先輩以外は殺していいわ。
他の相手が誰であろうと問題なく切り殺しなさい。
She unleashes the dark giant. Her hunting hound roars and storms off into the distance.
もっとも今のあなたにはその相手が誰かなんて判断はつかないでしょうけどね。バーサーカー。
Well, this is really fucking bad. She giggles. Cloaked in shadow, the girl slowly leaves a ruined kingdom with her dark knight. So we have to contend with Dark Berserker now. Fucking great, man. Oh, that's what we want to see. We get through the forest. We're in a circular clearing in the vast sea of trees. The castle I saw through Ilya's eyes towers over the forest, just as I remember. There's no sign of anyone around. It's strange that there's no guards on the castle walls, to say nothing of the castle, but I can't turn back now just because this might be a trap.
琴峰、あの木から2階に上がれないか。
Even if they know we're here, it would be suicide to go through the front door. I need to do whatever I can to get inside, even if it might not work.
そうだな。侵入するのなら水路を使うところだが、そんな悠長な真似が通じる相手ではなかろう。城に入った時点で侵入は悟られる。直接イリアスフィールの監禁場所に乗り込み、有無を言わせぬまま脱出したいのだが、さて。
The priest thinks aloud as he gazes up at the castle. He narrows his eyes, seeming to peer through the walls, and examines each window carefully.
驚いたな。本気で侮られているようだぞ、エミヤ。
Kotomine smirks. I doubt my ears. This might be the first time I've ever heard him sound so delighted.
なんだよ、琴峰。なんか見つけたのか。
見つけたとも。時に。一つ尋ねるが。登山の経験はあるかね、エミヤシロ。
Scale in the fucking tower?
まさか、あんた。
無論、フリークライミングだ。垂直だがオーバーハングはなく、凹凸は十分にある。この壁なら足場は確保できる。道具はなくとも登るのはたやすい。なに、氷壁に比べれば道を歩くがごとしだ。
Kotomine places a hand on the castle wall without waiting for my opinion. Then he just starts climbing it, sticking to the surface like a spider. He isn't going very fast, but his ascent is sure and steady.
何をしている。ポイントの確保ができないのなら、見て真似ろ。4階程度の壁登りができぬほど、やわではないだろう。ああ、それと、黒剣は置いていけ。帰りに拾っていけばいい。
With that, the priest keeps climbing.
本気で言ってんだな、あの野郎。
I drop the sword Kotomine lent me and approach the wall. He must have picked an easier section of the wall to climb. The surface is uneven, and I find a place to grab onto. Free climbing is about more than just muscle strength. You need to judge whether your next handhold is safe or not, whether a depression is deep enough to support your weight, whether you can use it to make it to the next step. And when climbing a nearly vertical wall, you're basically making it up as you go along. You could be a meter from your destination, but if you can't find your next handhold, you'll have to go all the way back down to the ground and try a new route. Find your way to the goal. Only experienced climbers have the skill to constantly scan 2 to 3 steps ahead while scaling a wall. And I'm definitely not experienced, so all I can do is try to imitate Kotomine. One slight misstep or failure to judge my strength could send me careening to the ground.
信じられねえ。普通、素人にやらせるか、こんなの。
I grumble while I climb. It's a crazy plan, but not totally reckless. Normally you'd only climb walls like these when you're more than halfway to a mountain summit. And climbers need to worry about more than just climbing. Just as the deep ocean is an inaccessible abyss to humans, high altitudes are also sacred ground that we can't enter. At 6,000 meters above sea level, oxygen becomes critically thin, and untrained climbers can't last more than a few hours. They'll suffer from nausea and dizziness, which will progress to cerebral edema before culminating in death. A mountain peak is an airless hell that becomes harsher the higher you go. Plus, the extreme cold, even the slightest scratch on the frostbitten skin, will lead to necrosis. Climbing in such extreme conditions means you have to worry about your bodily functions steadily declining as you ascend. Compared to the harrowing ordeal that real climbers face, scaling a castle wall doesn't sound impossible at all.
言っても。
It's still hard. All I can use are the very tips of my fingers. I cautiously scout out the thinnest of lips or crevices I can use to support my entire body weight. He's asking me to keep up with him, on a climb only an expert could do.
待て、移動した。上かと思えば下か。エミヤ、3階の窓まで下がって中に入れ。
この無茶言うなよな、お前。
Do I look like a lizard to you?
小鳥ね、窓あるぞ、窓。
構わん。ぶち破れ。
That's fair.
この平成新兵、こんなんなら最初からな。
It would have been way easier to climb a tree to get inside, you moron! I break into the castle. I shatter a window and dive through it, all in the same motion. I hang from a wall with both hands and swing my body like a pendulum to bust through the window with my legs. I roll on the floor and onto an extravagant carpet. By the time I swung my legs down, most of my body was already falling. If I'd been even a tiny bit late kicking in the window, I might have kicked off the stone wall instead and fallen 3 stories on my back.
3階の高さで頭から落ちれば死ぬぞ、普通。
Breaking the glass with my legs and rolling into the shards was dangerous, but I chalk it up as an acceptable risk. Oh hey, Elia.
シロ
For an instant, all worldly trifles vanished from my mind.
イリア。
I even forget that I'm deep in enemy territory. I recall the events from my backyard. Ilya said farewell to me with such a forced smile.
呆れた。なんで来たのシロ。もうあなたの出番なんてないのに、まだ無駄な努力をするつもり？
Her voice is stony. She's making the same cold expression she did when we first met. I'm used to it. I should be used to seeing her like this, but
まだわからないの？さくらのことは私に任せればいいの。これは私の役割なんだから。シロはおとなしく家に帰って。
バカ。後始末が役割なんて言うな。
I lose my patience and slap Ilya's cheek.
シロの無礼者。レディの方を叩くなんて紳士じゃないわ。いくらシロでも私にこんなことするなんて許さないんだから。
許さないのはこっちだ、バカイリア。男だったらげんこつで殴ってるぞ、この不良娘。
My blank mind suddenly flares with irritation, even though I'm happy to see Ilya.
何よ、私怒られるようなことしてないじゃない。私は自分の役割を果たすためにさくらについていっただけよ。それが一番いい方法なんだから、シロに文句を言う資格なんか。
うるさい、そんなものを知ったことか。いいか、イリアの役割なんて俺は知らない。俺はただ勝手に出て行った不良娘を連れ戻しに来ただけだ。イリアがどんなに強がってどんなに平気なふりをしていても騙されないからな。イリアが少しでも嫌がっている限り絶対に連れて帰ってやる。
強がってるって何よ。私は嫌だなんて思ってないわ。この体は聖杯として作られた。あいつらのために鍵になるのは尺だけど、
それが強がってるって言うんだ、バカ。いいか、聖杯なんてどうでもいい。イリアはイリアだ。イリアがイリアのままでいたいならそんなことはほっぽっといていいんだ。自分以外の何かのために自分を犠牲になんてするな。
I look away. Ilya bites her lip for a second.
それはシロだって。
She whispers something I didn't quite hear.
いいわ。仮に私が嫌がってるとしても、それがどうだっていうの。私たちじゃさくらには勝てないし、逃げられない。私をこの城から連れ出すことは不可能よ。だから条件も好きにさせている。シロだけならまだ見逃してもらえるけど、私と一緒じゃ絶対に森からは出られないわ。
Her scarlet eyes urge me to leave. Oh, come on. Yeah, I mean, like, anyone would pick anything else. Bring Ilya home.
それでも連れて帰る。俺は一人で帰る気はないからな。
There's nothing to consider. Right now, this is the only choice that exists. Ilya doesn't say anything. She gazes at me with an absent expression. I take her defenseless hand.
行くぞイリア。見つかる前に家に帰ろう。
I pull her close and start walking. She's small and terribly light.
呆れた。シローには何を言っても無駄ね。
Ilya doesn't resist, tottering along with me.
本当にこんなのうまくいくはずないのに。
Oh, absolutely not. But hey, might as well try our best, right? She happily clasps my hand in return.
何を悠長にやっている。
And then, Kozumina jumps through the broken window, his coat fluttering.
琴峰。
Ilya lets go of my hand and squares off against Kotomine.
待ったイリア。そいつは味方だ。今回だけ協力することになった。即興の味方なんだ。
嘘。シロったらこんなやつと手を組んだの。ダメよシロ。こいつは。
無駄話は後だ。追いつかれる前に外に出るぞ。
Kotomine moves in a flash. Before I can react, he scoops up Ilya in his arms and dives out the window.
イリア。
I panic and run to the window. Kotomine has just landed on the ground. As soon as he touches down, Ilya wildly waves her arms and slaps him across the face. Good. It's a pleasant sound that I can hear from up here.
感心してる場合じゃない。要するに飛び降りろってことかよ、あいつ。
There's no time to doubt myself. If I can pull off the landing, I'll survive somehow. I charge my legs with as much magical energy as I can manage. I can't magically strengthen my own body, but it should lessen the impact. Nope, bad idea. I jump from over 20 meters high and drop into a roll when I land. 3 stories doesn't sound like much until you consider how tall this castle is. It would have easily been 8 stories in a Japanese apartment building.
いた。脳天飛び出すかと思ったさ。今の。
Damn it, my legs are too numb to stand up. Luckily, I landed on grass. If this had been asphalt, my bones would have broken out of my legs, and then I wouldn't have been able to get out of here.
びっくり。シロ、丈夫だね。
そうだな。あの高さから何の魔術講師もなしに落下とは恐れ入る。
Motherfucker. This fucking guy. You know, Kotomi and I might be an evil fucking piece of shit. I still fucking love this guy. He's great. Oh my god. He's delightful. Both of them are staring at me. Ilya aside, Kotomina's words nearly make me forget about my numb legs.
叫んな。お前が飛び降りたからああするしかなかったんだよ。俺だってこんなのは二度とごめんだ。普通足折れてるし、飛び降りた瞬間なんてめまいで失神しかけたんだからな。
だが5体満足ではないか。文句を言われる筋合いはないが。しかし確かに驚きだ。
Fucking guy.
よくあの高さから飛び降りようなどと思え
What else was he supposed to do?
いかに魔術師とはいえ魔術講師なしで飛び降りようとは思う前に。
I mean, they left me behind. I couldn't let Kotomine show me up after he jumped out of there with Ilya.
シロのせいじゃないわ。シロは体だけじゃなくて、心まであーちゃんの
Is that
影響を
why?
受けているのよ。だから体だって丈夫になってるし、あの高さなら降りられるって、あーちゃんと同じように思っちゃったのよ。
イリア、今のどういう。
なるほど。それは頼もしい。戦闘面でその強気を発揮してくれ。そら、お前の剣だ。
He tosses me the weapon I left behind when I started climbing.
走れるな。ここからは命がけだぞ。
Kotomine says that we don't have time to stand around talking and makes for the castle gate. Then, as if issuing a challenge, a different sound shakes the wintry castle.
やっぱりまだこの世に留めてたのね
Yup.
さくら。
It's unmistakably the roar of a predator. It signals that a beast is on the hunt. It is a death sentence handed down to the lost prisoners by the kind and merciless lord of the castle.
まさかか。
My mind switches over to battle mode. Berserker, he said. The name invokes the image of a threat that still threatens me. It squeezes the calm out of every last cell in my body.
引くぞ。戦ってどうにかなる相手ではない。
Yeah.
追いつか
We
れれ
need
ば
to get the
殺される。
fuck out of here. Kotomine runs ahead to the gate.
振り返るなイリア。諦めろ。バーサーカーは以前とは違う。
I take Ilya's hand and start running. I can't afford to save my stamina anymore. If that mad warrior is the one pursuing us, then the only way to survive is to run as fast as we can for the 3 hours it takes us to reach the edge of the forest. My breath catches in my throat. We're being overtaken by a darkness I can't ignore no matter where I look. We run through the forest. I can't see anyone behind us yet. All I hear is the wind gusting by. Our pursuer is a titanic beast, not a hound. While we have to dodge between the trunks and branches, it closes in on us while tearing apart everything in its path. You'd think we were being chased by a giant drilling rig, boring its way through the forest. The jetpack black wall slowly accelerates, threatening to close in around us.
ダメ、そんなに速く走れない。
I slow my pace to match Ilya's. This is bad. The hostile wall is about as fast as me. If I have to run while carrying Ilya, it'll definitely catch up to us within a minute.
やっぱりダメ。私は残るから城を一人で逃げて。
まだ追いつかれたわけじゃない。背中に乗れ。イリア一人ならどうってことない。
バカ、どうってことある。そんなことしたらすぐに追いつかれるってわかるもん。
What should I do? Should I keep running with Ilya, or should I fight that monster? I couldn't even defend myself against Assassin. Could I possibly go toe-to-toe with that monster, the strongest servant with nothing more than a borrowed thin sword? I can't. Stop. Give me a break. There's absolutely nothing I can do to beat that monster. If I stop, I'm dead. I'll be killed for sure. If I face the monster, it'll chop my feeble body in half, and it'll stomp on my still conscious torso to smithereens like an industrial grinder.
その必要はない。イリアスフィールは私が運ぶ。
Ilya and I turn around. We don't have time to stay surprised. Kotomine comes all the way back to us and picks up Ilya in his arms without further ado. He's fast. Kotomine must be in great shape. With his height, he should be able to easily run while carrying Ilya. But we're in the middle of a forest. With both arms occupied by his charge, he navigates the uneven terrain and thick trees without slowing down at all. I run after him as fast as I can. I keep up with him. Unshackled, I run next to Kotomine, who's carrying Ilya. I manage to cover 100 meters in 7 seconds. In this forest that's so easy to trip on. My heart beats at a rapid cadence. Something's wrong. I'm running too fast. No human can run through a forest at nearly 50 kilometers per hour. My legs throb. My wrapped left arm feels odd, like it's swollen. This must be what Ilya was talking about. Archer's physical functions are taking over Shiro Emiya, not just his combat experience. It's a radically potent muscle-enhancing drug. The poison is injected into my body, giving me powers beyond my own. That's good. Even if it's like shaking a Geiger counter to try and make it not detect a radiation leak, I appreciate it right now. But not Kotomine. He's not showing any signs of magical energy output or magecraft usage. It's hard to believe, but he's sprinting while carrying Ilya without the aid of any magecraft at all.
おい、あんた本当に人間か。
お前ほどではない。それより気がついたか。この速度を保てば逃げ切れるぞ。何しろあれは目が見えぬようだからな。
Huh.
目が見えないって追っての？
そうとしか思えん。
That must be why it's just destroying everything.
速度ではあちらの方が上だ。 森の木々などバーサーカには小石程度の足止めにしかならんにもかかわらず追いつかれないのはあちらに何か欠陥があるのだろう。
It bothers me they can look so bored talking about something that should have us jumping for joy, but that means
逃げ切れる。あとは俺たちの体力次第ってことか。
いや逃げ足だけで勝ち抜けるほど甘くはないのだ。
his voice drips with hostility. Before I understand what he means. Assassin. My left arm twitches. I see a white skull. Like a rapid slideshow, Assassin flits in and out of the trees on a path parallel to ours, seemingly mocking our escape. By the time I notice it, it's too late. Assassin makes a subtle wave of his arm as he slips in and out of the trees at high speed, and someone blocks the attack before it can skewer me between the eyes. I gasp. Only one person could have done that. Kotomine deflected a throw that I couldn't even see, all while carrying Ilya.
目障りなやつだ。手が空いている時は現れぬくせに、忙しい時は呼ばずともやってくる。
Kotomine slows his speed. The priest frowns with displeasure, watching the dark killer keeping pace with us.
ことみね。
イリアは任せ。代わりにあれを任されよう。
You know what? Hey, that's all you.
なに、これでも神職だ。悪霊払いは慣れている。
Kotomine stops and lets Ilya down.
あんた本気か。
Ilya's bewildered. I take her hand and pull her close. At the same time, 3 daggers fly at us like bullets.
ことみね。
There he's got his black keys.
アサシンを名乗るにしては読みやすい太刀筋だ。
I'm having trouble believing it, to be honest. Assassin let fly 3 flashes of lightning, and the priest parried them all without breaking a sweat. Uh-oh, he's closing in. Berserker! Damn, that one was close. He'll definitely catch up if we get stalled here. I can't stop now. I need to take Ilya and get out of here.
いいんだな。行くぞ、ことみね。
そう言っている。こちらの心配は無用だ。
I pick Ilya up. I can't go as fast as Kotomine, but this should be faster than holding her hand while running. I leave the priest behind. The dark roars are on the other side of the forest. Its reeking destruction is seemingly wild powder to smoke us out, but closing in on us all the same. I don't have anything to say to Kotomine. The best answer I can give now is to turn my back on him and run with all my might. But right before I leave,
エミヤ、助けた者が女ならば殺すな。目の前で死なれるのはなかなかに応えるぞ。
the priest says something oddly self-deprecating and human.
余分な忠告だ。急げ。バーサーカーだけならば逃げ切れよう。後の戦いはお前次第だ。エミヤしろ。
I nod and start running. 2 shadows shrink into the distance. When I look back one last time, his back is so far away. I have an ominous feeling. I don't think we'll see each other alive ever again. Man. Fucking Kirei Kotomine. As an aside, it is a misconception to say that a priest's duty is exorcism. Priests deliver the word of God. They do not drive out demons. Their God is one and absolute. He resides in all, and is the greatest of all. He is the Holy Spirit who created a perfect world. He would never allow any evil to corrupt his children and dirty his creations. But some evils are tenacious in their corruption of man and the tainting of the earth. There are things which should not exist, profaning this world. They reconcile this seeming contradiction thus. Even the demons which threaten man are necessary pieces of the world the Lord created. They are creatures worthy of his love. According to this dogma, demons serve the will of heaven. If the divine cultivates man's goodness, then the demonic forges man's evil nature. They both serve heaven's will. A priest who preaches the Lord's work has no authority to destroy demons. And yet, to reiterate, some demons are particularly tenacious in their corruption of man and tainting of earth. They wreak ghastly tragedies beyond human comprehension. In time, his children mistook heavenly designs for powerlessness. They sought miracles from the Lord to stop the evils they could not understand. Thus exceptions were created. Human apostles who do not preach the Lord's word, but instead execute his will. Trials originally meant to be witnessed. Heresies originally meant to be denied. Those who received the eighth sacrament, which originally did not exist. The 120 cardinals ordered the creation of the executors, destroyers of evil. They drive out evil and eliminate that which does not exist in the Lord's gospel. Those who hunt the faithless are themselves unbound by faith. One could conclude that they are permitted to be immoral. They are charged to protect only one thing, the name of the Lord Almighty. For that cause they will even destroy the evils he created. That is the only thing they have in common with exorcists.
大公社か。連中はこぞって鳩のごとき軽薄さ、蛇のごとき移り身を習わせるというが、なるほど。貴様もその例に漏れぬらしい。
The White Mask sneers. Kirei Kotomina does not answer. He checks his weapons. He has 5 black keys of confession for each hand, and his left arm contains several unused command spells from the previous war. He is more than well armed against lesser spirits. But he lacks the firepower to fully defeat a servant, even if all of his blades were to strike true. Assassin is still a heroic spirit, albeit a nameless one. It would be impossible to defeat him without the scriptures carried by a select few executors.
どうした？見れば貴様のそれも投擲するもの。ここで私と一勝負興じてみるか。
The priest doesn't move. He listens keenly to the sounds of the forest while watching the skull lurking between the trees. The rustling of leaves, the breathing beneath the mask, the rippling of the flesh, and the fading footsteps of the maid warrior.
やはりあちらに行ったか。的尾さくらとはうまくいっていないようだな。マキリ造家。
He makes an observation, his eyes fixed on the skull.
そうか。わしの気配に気づいておったが、綺麗よ。そこまで分かっていながら足を止めるとは何事じゃ。以前のお主ならば小僧を蒔絵にしても逃げ切ろう。だというのに自らおとりになるなどらしからぬ善行。よもや情にほだされたなどということはあるまいな。
His laughter echoes through the forest. The white skull sways slightly. The priest doesn't even twitch an eyebrow.
何？エミやシロを助けたつもりはない。単にこちらに用があっただけだ。
Kotomine speaks to the invisible mage without even showing his bloodlust.
は？わしに用があったと？
無論だ。どのみち、私もエミヤも森からは出られまい。じき殺されるのは分かっている。ならば、死ぬ前に斧が目的のために手を打つのは当然だろう。
ん？では、イリアスフィールがどうなろうと構わぬというの
No, the
か。
fuck he didn't.
あれを救うために来たのであろうが。
This man only ever acts in his own self-interest.
構わんさ。ここでアサシンを倒し、エミやシロを助けに行ったところで間に合わん。エミやシロがあの娘を救おうと救うまいと、もう私には関係のないことだ。
His left hand holds 3 black keys. The priest watches the skull in front of him, holding the swords in a fan shape.
ああ。では、わざわざこの場に残ったのは。
なあ、私のすべきことは、イリアスフィールをお前に渡さぬことか。
Bloodlust disappears. The white mask camouflages him among the trees and completely vanishes from sight.
ここで、お前を殺しておくことのどちらか。
Blades streak through the air. The priest's thrust clashes against Assassin's thrown dagger. I'm trying to think. Aside from getting Saber into the shadow, has Assassin actually killed anyone? None of his daggers has ever, from what I can recall, none of his daggers have ever fucking hit anyone. They've all been repelled. Everyone can just fucking repel them. He's like the biggest fucking fraud here.
そうか、そのために死にに来たか。よかろう綺麗、腐れ縁者。教会の外れ者がどこまで戦うか見届けて死んでようぞ。
His cackling rings through the forest. Knowing he can't win, the clergyman who only drives out evil faces down the Malak al-Maut, the Malak al-Maut, whom the old mage controls. So I'm guessing there's something waiting for for Shiro and Ilya, huh? I'm guessing it's going to be Saber. I run through the forest, carrying Ilya. I can't look back. The second I do, I'll be too conscious of the giant black wall and lose hope. I can't afford to do that. If my spirit dulls for even a bit, it'll catch up. It'll catch me and Ilya and kill us. My legs feel like they're going to fall off. No matter how light Ilya is, you can't run while carrying someone without slowing down. To make things worse, the terrain is perilous and I risk falling over with every step. Faster, 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 faster! I need to go faster than I am now or it'll catch us. The presence behind me closes in with each passing second. I need to stop this lazy jog. I need to run faster, fast like Kotomine. I need to take Ilya out of here. My heart's going to burst. It's tight. I can't breathe. My leg muscles tear and I cry out in pain as if my bones are going to burst out of my thighs. It's suffocating. How long have I been running? Having left Kotomine behind, I've been running like there's no tomorrow through the forest with Ilya in my arms. I've already run over 5 kilometers. Maybe double that. My oxygen-deprived brain isn't sure. I've just been running as fast as I can, never letting my pace drop. But I can't get away. I've been running so hard that I feel like my heart muscles will cramp, but the presence behind me grows larger and larger. Ilya is heavy. The oxygen is heavy. My legs are heavy. Death is heavy. I'll die if it catches up. The incomprehensible terror of getting instantly killed hounds me from behind. I kick my flagging mind into gear. Run. Don't think, just run. So what if my legs fall off? There's no point worrying. I can think about it once it happens. I just need to head for the exit as fast as I can. Fuel up your chest with gasoline, turn the key to the engine, and keep it from trying to stop. Stay in top gear and throw the brakes out. Run, run, run. Run to stave off the anxiety closing in from behind. Run to ignore the terror on my heels. Run to wipe out all this pathetic whining. Shut up. Stop screaming in my ear. My own breathing is enough to rupture my eardrum, so I definitely don't have time to listen to your... Ilya shouts into my chest. Her full-throated scream makes my body react without a second thought. I stop. I dig my heels into the ground to halt my momentum and set Ilya down. I ready the black key sword I had on my waist and manifest my magic circuit at 200 miles per hour. Nothing comes to mind. Basic structure analyze. Composition analyze. Basic structure alter. Composition reinforce. Without even thinking about it, I complete a single count incantation in an instant. I use both hands and every ounce of strength to resist the attack. The whirlwind comes in from the side. Our pursuer charges in from our flank, scattering trees in his wake. My body is sent flying, pulverized by a single strike. The sword that I strengthened with all my might to be diamond hard is crushed like hot toffee. The shocking impact is transmitted from my arms to my whole body, rattling me from brain to toes. I'm flying. I put everything I had into that attack and it got overwhelmed. I can't fight it. I can't fight it at all. Shiro Emiya can't even slow that monster down. My body is floating in the air. No, it's soaring. Just like a thrown javelin, his attack bats me through the air, sending me dozens of meters away. It might even send me back to the castle. That's how hopeless the gap in our strength is, how bleak our chances of escape are. Time pauses. I keep sailing through the air. I'll probably die once I fall. Just when I'm about to accept this vast power difference as my inevitable fate.
嘘。やだ。嘘でしょ。まさか。
I see Ilya stunned and crying in front of the dark enemy. I reflexively reach out my hand. I manage to grab a tree trunk and put an end to my endless flight. The impact is like a hammer on my back. My nearly bursting heart swells and shrieks in agony. I can only take one breath. Even though I don't have enough oxygen, that single breath threatens to pop me like a balloon. But I can still move. If I have 1 minute to breathe, I can run. I muster all of my magical circuits to drive my body.
どうしたのバーサーカー。私だよ。わからないの。
Ilya looks like she's been entranced by the dark foe. In her shock, she keeps whimpering in denial at the changed thing before her. She's fixated on the dark enemy's identity. Kotomine said that it can't see. He was right, but not right. The servant has no eyes, nose, or mouth anymore. Its gleaming red eye sockets give off only bloodlust. Its entire body is corroded by the black mud, and the wound that Saber inflicted is still there. It's something different now. Swallowed by the shadow, it's now a monster whose only purpose is destruction. It can't see what it's chasing. The dark berserker's eyeballs don't see Ilya, never mind me. It roars and raises its axe sword over the creature in front of it. Cut to an interlude here. Okay, back to Kotomine. The priest faces his final moments. Oh, even he's getting outpaced. Kirei Kotomine leans against a wall, staring at the blurry skull in front of him. His vestments are battered and torn. His breathing is labored, and he is down to his last 3 black keys.
これで爪かの。サーバントを向こうによく持ったと褒めるべきか。
The old man's chuckle echoes overhead. Assassin is silent, unlike his talkative master. To him, combat is work. The dirks he aims at his target's vitals are also meant to gauge his prey's strength. When the prey defends against the first dagger, that tells him its mobility. The second dagger reveals its mindset. He maintains a distance of 7 meters. The killer keeps his target at a distance where only thrown weapons are effective in order to measure his abilities. If he can't slay it in one blow, then he chases it to a position where that's possible. He cripples its limbs, wears out its stamina, and drives it to the point of heart failure. To Assassin, his daggers are merely steps to ensure a certain death. He uses the daggers to measure his prey's strength, forces it into a prime opportunity for a kill, then finishes it off with his devil's arm. It's his work, and a lifestyle that brings him no pleasure. While the work is dull, the priest proved to be an unexpectedly intriguing mark. He has already used over 20 daggers. The daggers were thrown to gauge his opponent, but every strike was lethal. The priest broke out of the forest while fending off his attacks, arriving at these ruins. Assassin had dismissed him as a mere mortal, but the priest's skills are worthy of admiration. But this is the end. The priest has no more strength left to run. His back is to a wall and all he can do is watch Assassin. He has 3 black keys still concealed. Assassin dodged all 7 of the black keys he threw like bullets, and the weapons vanished into the woods.
では幕じゃな。慈悲をくれてやるがよい、アサシン。
The skull shakes. Assassin throws daggers without making any visible motions. He targets the forehead, pancreas, and the diaphragm. Simultaneously, the priest defends against the unleashed lightning with the black keys in his hand. It is a foregone conclusion. A throwing technique which, once unleashed, is certain to spell victory. The 3 vital point attacks are a feint. Once Kirei Kotomine parried the daggers, his fate was sealed.
死ね。
A wing flutters open. Assassin's long cursed arm unfolds like a one-winged spear. It is an unavoidable attack. Assassin knows the priest's movements. He has a firm understanding of his tired, bloodied prey's abilities. Thus, it is inevitable. The prey may have avoided getting killed by the dirks, but his life ends there. Even if he had some strength in reserve, the priest's body cannot keep up with his thoughts. The 3 daggers he parried left him no choice but to jump to the side. He has no way to escape this arm from 4 meters away. The devil's arm extends. The priest shows no fear. He was prepared for this. He anticipated everything. The feint, the attack from the cursed arm as he defended himself, and the lack of any avenue of escape. Yes, this outcome was inevitable, no matter how much he struggled. That is why
セット。
his last resort is to sacrifice himself in a simultaneous strike. The skull chuckles. In reaching for the priest's heart, the devil's arm crosses paths with the black keys. That is not a problem. Only Assassin's arm took any damage. He learns that black keys can strike him even at this range. But too bad for the priest. Even if they are imbued with magical effects, his black keys cannot defeat Assassin. The 3 thin swords will probably pierce Assassin and nail him to the tree behind him. But that's all. While the priest celebrates the fact that he finally wounded Assassin, he will die when Assassin crushes his heart. Assassin's arm finishes its work first. His noble phantasm, Zabania, positively touched the priest's chest and created a false heart. But it doesn't feel like it worked. The man's heart is empty. It doesn't react. Suddenly, an explosive impact rattles him. The 3 black keys slam Assassin into a tree and nail his cloak to it. He's astonished for 2 reasons. First, the black keys have stopped him from moving. And second,
バカな、なぜ死なぬきれい。
the priest's coat flutters. He jumps. It's a comically high jump, like a human cannonball. He stored and stored his strength until he let it all out, performing a superhuman feat that instantly reduces 10 meters to 0. High above the lush trees, his hand closes around the head of Zoken Mato, who'd been enjoying the would-be execution.
アサシン、何をしておるか。
Let's fucking go, Kirei! That much is obvious. His bodyguard has been pinned to a tree by the 3 black keys. While they only inflicted flesh wounds on Assassin, the blessed stakes also make it impossible for him to rescue the old man.
私が殺す。私が生かす。私が傷つけ、私が癒す。我が手を逃れうる者は一人もいない。我が目の届かぬ者は一人もいない。
Why did he challenge an enemy he knows he can't beat? Was this always his objective from the beginning?
お己、貴様、貴様。
黙っている。舌を噛むぞ。
The priest takes hold of the old man's head and slams it into the ground.
打ち砕かれよ。破れた者、老いた者を私が招く。私に委ね、私に学び、私に従え。休息を、歌を忘れず、祈りを忘れず、私を忘れず。私は軽く、あらゆる重みを忘れさせる。
He is merciless. Kozumiai slams the old mage's body into the ground, crushing his bones. Then he smashes his skull against a wall.
そうか、わしを殺すか。よかろう。好きにするがいい。 だがそれで何が変わる？お前の望みが叶うとでも思うておるのか？
装うなかれ。許しには報復を、信頼には裏切りを、希望には絶望を、光ある者には闇を、生ある者には暗い死を。
He walks, marking the wall with a trail of the old man's blood.
なんと救いようのない男よ。未だ人並みの幸福とやらを求めているのか。そのようなもの、お主には絶対にないと理解したのではなかったか。
Kotomine grinds a mural of flesh and blood into the wall. All that is left of the old mage's body is his head. Bit by bit it is filed away. Less than half of his head remains. As his brains are squished into paste, the old mage cackles one last time.
休息は私の手に。あなたの罪に油を注ぎ、因を記そう。永遠の命は死の中でこそ与えられる。許しはここに。受肉した私が誓う。
そう、お前には永遠にない。綺麗よ。主は生まれながらの欠陥者に過ぎん。この世の道理に溶け込めぬまま生還者であり続けるがよい。
キリエ・エレイソン。
The cackling fades. A weight and shape, imperceptible to the human eye, fades into nothingness. Baptism rites. The church fixed its scriptures, the words of their god, into a system. With that magecraft foundation, baptism rites are said to be the most powerful tool against spirits. When souls are cut off from their bodies, becoming lost and crazed, these keys of providence return them to the void. The 500-year-old mage's flawed convictions are sublimated in a final act of mercy. Well, at least that's Zokin taken care of. You know, Kira really was the perfect guy to take on Zokan. The only way you can really kill a fucking evil soul is by blessing it with God, right? I guess? I mean, hey, that worked out perfectly well. So that means Assassin is gone too, since he does... Oh, actually. Is Assassin gone now? I'm trying to think. We'll have to wait and see. Anyway, time has stopped. Ilya screams a plea, but the giant doesn't know who she is. It swings its greatsword down at her. Ilya! I run. I was thrown about 10 meters, but I can cross that in an instant. I know I'll make it if I run. In the span of a single breath, a narcotic blood propellant will propel my body like a jet stream, and my thoughts will blaze like lightning. I take a step forward. My body feels light. I can feel time stop. I can make it. I know I'll make it, but once I do... The black key had no effect. I had no effect. That's why. I rummage through my armory, searching for something to make. Something that can beat him. Something that's strong enough to stop him here. How obvious. It can only be the greatsword he's holding. I blocked it. I project a weapon as if it comes naturally to me and take the giant's axe sword head on. It's cracked. Fissures form in the axe sword I projected. At the same time, the feedback from using something I shouldn't have nearly kills me. I'm thrown through the air. The axe sword shatters against the giant's second attack, and my body tumbles along the ground like a piece of trash. Fading. My mind is fading. I can't think. I try to collect my scattered self, but I can't think. My left arm revolts against me. My blood overflows. The mere act of projection, even though my left arm is still bound, halves my IQ, and I can feel an awful chill that tells me there's no going back. That terrible premonition will turn out to be true. The first things I'll lose will be the most precious to me. A tempest rages around me. I'm bathed in blinding light. I can't see. I can't find it. I've lost sight of it amidst the pain. I'm looking for it, but I can't find it. My ego becomes a grain of sand in the desert, never to be found by anyone ever again. And I'm thirsty, 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 thirsty.
シロ、しっかりして。ちゃんと自分を見つけなさい。
Ilya's here. I'm on the ground. The dark giant is about 10 meters away. Its red eyes dazzle as if searching for my thrown body. I return to my senses. This is no time to be taking a dirt nap. My body can still move. My only injuries are scratches from the tree branches. I'm only lightly bleeding, but my lungs feel tight. I gasp for air, trying to oxygenate my exhausted body. That's all. What's more important are my insides. I don't want to know what they look like, but I can still fight.
Ilya, 一旦離れるぞ。
I grab Ilya's hand and start running. Even if I'm not injured, I still need to catch my breath. I need to at least get out of his reach for a minute so that I can compose myself. However...
なんでシロ、自分がどうなってるか分かってるの。
Ilya resists my pull. Something's wrong. Berserker is behind Ilya, trying to pinpoint where we are. I can't think straight due to the lack of oxygen. I can't figure out why Ilya asked me that question.
ごめんなさい。けど、もういいの。もういいから。シロ、一人で逃げて。
Ilya looks gloomy. My head won't work, so I just get angry instead.
もうこんな時にまでダダこねるな。行くぞイリア。今はそんな場合じゃないだろう。
I pull Ilya's arm. She's so small, but she's trying to help me. It feels so terribly precious.
何するのよシロ。もういいって言ってるじゃない。今ならまだ間に合うから。シロ、一人で逃げて。
She hammers her little fists on my head. I ignore it.
黙ってろ。んなことできたらな。そもそもこんなところに来てないんだよ。
I hug Ilya tight. Her eyes ask me why. What a dumb question. It doesn't matter why.
理由なんてあるか。俺は勝手にイリアを守るだけだ。いいか、兄貴はな、妹を守るもんなんだよ。
はあ、バカじゃないの。私はシロの妹なんかじゃないもん。
いいんだよ。一度でもお兄ちゃんなんて呼ばれたら、兄貴は兄貴だ。たとえ血が繋がってなくても、イリアは俺の妹だろ。
シロ。
The dark giant turns this way.
走れ、来るぞ。
I can think later. Right now I need to put as much distance between us as possible. It's a little strange. The speed with which Shiro Emiya runs with Ilya until far surpasses what she knows he's physically capable of. They come into a familiar clearing. The choking, ragged breaths belong to Ilya. I don't feel out of breath at all. Maybe my body's gone numb. It feels hard because I lack oxygen, but it's like I'm not even breathing. Like I'm a dead man. My heart's been on a complete strike for a while now.
大丈夫。走れるから。
Ilya's fingers feel scarily hot as they grip mine. She's never had the physical strength to keep running like this. Her creators never thought she'd have to engage in physical exercise like other humans while they were designing her. I have a headache. Knowledge I don't know is entering my brain. They're distractions. We need to get away from here. The giant is closing in on us, even though its intellect and senses are sealed. For a while, it seemed to go in the wrong direction, but I don't like how fast it's getting. My legs are shaking, and I calmly judge that I won't be able to move more than 10 more meters. Ilya can't run anymore either. We could try to hide, but there's no cover around here to conceal us. Naturally, it wouldn't do a lick of good to hide from a berserker that can't see to begin with. We can count on one small blessing. There's a crevice in the clearing that widens into a ditch. It's a scar that Saber's noble phantasm left on the ground.
イリア、こっちだ。
I take Ilya and jump into the ditch. The trench is easily wide enough for two. I rest my back against the bare earth. I look up at the sky, catching my breath. The sky looks small and cut off from us. It's like we're underground. I take deep breaths. I use this short pause to rest and calm my frayed mind. But our riposte only lasts for a moment. The giant won't lose us. No matter where we run, it'll track us down, capture us, and slaughter us. The girl next to me is curled up, trying to keep her voice down. Ilya stifles her voice and hugs herself, trying not to burden me. We're at the end of the line. We can't run anymore, and I can't keep it in check. I look at the red shroud around my left arm. Our one way out has been waiting for me to unlock it. I'll die. Kotomine said that it's the fuse on a time bomb. I'm reminded of my earlier pain. A single projection almost shattered me. I can't imagine how agonizing it would be once I unwrap this arm. The trigger is always in my mind. If I reach for the shroud, it's no different from putting the muzzle of a gun in my mouth and pulling the trigger. The hammer will fall if I unwrap the shroud. My brains will be blown out of the back of my skull and everything will end. Make up your damn mind. I've always known the answer. I'll bring Ilya back and save Sakura. I know what that means. I'll keep protecting Ilya, defeat that alien shadow, and tear Sakura away from it. That's the impossible miracle I've wished for. Even now, I desire that outcome with every fiber of my being. I know it's a dream, an ideal that will never come true, but I've never even considered giving up on it. So I have to go. I'll save Sakura and help Ilya. I can't do it. Sakura is dying. Her path contains nothing but destruction. Someone told me that it would take a miracle to save her. That's right. Salvation that humans can't achieve. To acquire a miracle that you can't achieve on your own, you have to pay an appropriate price. You can't protect yourself while saving someone else. What if the only way to rescue Sakura from her path to ruin is to have someone else trade places with her? The earth trembles. A living tempest is charging towards us.
そうだ。あいつを倒していいんだ、イリア。
She's realized that I'm holding my left arm with my right hand.
ダメ、それだけはダメ。あーちゃんの腕を使ったら戻れなくなる。死ぬのよ。いいえ、死ぬ前に殺されるわ。シローが何も悪いことをしてないシローがそこまでする必要ない。
それはなんとか我慢する。死にそうになってもなんとか我慢するから。イリアは心配してる。なあ、あと一つ訂正。俺だって悪いことぐらいしてきたぞ。
シロー。
じゃあ行ってくれ。イリアはここで待っててくれ。
With my right hand, I give Ilya a slight pat on the head and walk along the trench. I leave Ilya. I'll lure Berserker away and fight him head on. I need to make sure we're far enough away that Ilya doesn't get involved. I touch the knot securing the holy shroud to my left shoulder. It's tied tightly around my wrist, so I have to undo it from the shoulder. Once it's untied, I can tear the rest of it off. When I do, the pain I'll feel will be dozens of times worse than anything I've experienced so far. Kotomine called it the fuse on a time bomb. I'll ignite it once I take off the shroud. I don't know if I'll explode 1 minute later or 1 day later, but I'm certain that there's no putting out the flame once it's lit. My tongue is dry. I can't shake off the fear, even though I know what's coming. I'm so nervous I want to scream. I wonder if it'll stay sane, or I wonder if I'll stay sane. I'm utterly terrified of myself. It's only natural that I'll die. My being here makes that a foregone conclusion. But if I'm going to be killed anyway, then I want to keep living as long as I can. So there's only one thing I'm afraid of. I hope that my mind won't break before my body does. Will I withstand the pain? Will I forget who I am, who Ilya is, before the fight even starts? Will I even forget my vow to protect her? That's what I'm afraid of, more than anything else. That's why I've kept this sealed away. I told myself that I'd never use this arm, even if my life was in danger. What's happened to Berserker could happen to me too. I might give in to the pain, lose my mind, and turn into something like that. I'll always be afraid of that as long as I have this left arm. It's the embodiment of the nightmares where I'm killed. And yet, if I know that, then why am I still here? Don't worry about that. As I think that, there's only one reason I'm still here. He wanted me to live until it was time to use this arm. He knew I'd need it, so he entrusted it to me. He said that I would judge myself. Ilya said that I've done nothing wrong.
それで十分だ。
I'll redeem myself here. I betrayed myself and sacrificed so many lives. But there's something I still won't compromise on, and I'll keep living for it. I channel my strength into my red punishment. Will I live or will I die? I take a deep breath, bracing myself for what's to come, and tear the shroud. In an instant, the world falls apart. Despair howls. The gust exceeds 100 meters per second. I'm being battered by a tempest that no person, no living thing could possibly survive in. It isn't even wind anymore. The air pressure is a steel storm crushing my body. It smashes my eyeballs. It crushes me into a wall. I can't move a finger, much less lift my arms. My blood flows backwards. My mind is bleached clean. There's no pain. The concept of feeling and enduring pain is far too human. I melt. I can't even cry out in defiance. I have nothing. No way to resist. I need to move forward, but I can't even lift a finger. I melt into the white. My body and mind crumble into senselessness. Forward. Why am I here? Still forward. What did I become like this for? Beyond. What am I fighting for? Go forward, past this wind. I vanish. My mind held on even after my body had failed long ago, but now it disappears. I can't hold it together. I can't move no matter how hard I try. I can't hang on no matter how determined I am. I try focusing every fiber of my being into clenching my right hand. If I can do that, then I can plant my feet. If I can move any part of my body, I'll use that as a foothold to move forward. I can't move my fingers, much less make a fist. My left eye is pulverized. The howling wind punctures my eardrums. My consciousness and sight are fading. Amidst it all, I see an impossible vision. He's standing. He's standing in the middle of this wind. He's trying to make it to the other side. It's like it's the natural thing to do. He walks through the steel wind, scarlet cloak fluttering. clench my jaw. I hear my teeth grinding. My right hand has been balled into a fist all this time. The Red Knight doesn't look at me. He turns slightly, revealing a grim face. He doesn't care that I'm about to be swallowed by the wind. He foresaw this outcome. Shiro Emiya cannot defy this wind. He's known all along that there's no future for a man who betrays himself and clings to wishes he can't handle. His words are correct. Someday I'll be judged for my accumulated debts. And yet his back says,
ついてこれるか
with contempt, with faith. He's waiting for me to arrive. My vision burns. Heat bursts into my senseless body. I cut through the wind with my limbs as if I'm swinging great swords. With all my strength, I charge past his red back. I step onto the earth. The wind is gone still. The dark giant is 30 meters away. He can reach me in less than 3 seconds. That's why. I'll finish this in 3 seconds. My mind is razor sharp. I know my own fighting strength. The projection of matter, leveraging principles of creation, fundamental points, structural materials, manufacturing techniques, host experience, and accumulated time. A reality marble that overlays the map of the world implanted onto my soul onto the world. A manifestation of my mental world according to the Magecraft theory of the world egg. I inherit Archer's accumulated skills, experience, and physical strength. Correction. I fail to load his physique. I'll still die if Berserker slashes me. I cannot use his reality marble unlimited blade works. Archer's inner world is different than mine. I can't recreate it. All I can replicate are the noble phantasms he's recorded, and the things which Shiro Emiya has personally learned. If I decide to draw a noble phantasm from my left arm, it will search unlimited blade works for the most appropriate weapon to my purpose, and replicate it. Be warned, however. Projection is a double-edged sword. If I use it even once, I hold my breath and cram all my magical energy into my left arm. I just need a weapon that I can use. I'm well aware of the risks. Further ahead. I'll go past this wind and strike myself down. I stare at him. I take in every millimeter of his great sword. I spread my left hand and take hold of an imaginary weapon that is yet to appear. It's incredibly massive. Shiro Emiya cannot handle this sword, but this left arm can replicate the enemy's monstrous strength. Something breaks. A part of my chest shatters with a metallic sound. My skeleton buckles under the flow of magical energy. It's pathetic, like an apple peel. I'm beyond worrying. The arm will make up for my broken parts. I devote my undivided attention to killing my enemy. He's noticed. His bloodlust focuses on me. The dark giant senses my magecraft as a hostile act, and his eyes move. They're like black, ominous stars. The giant roars a death cry and storms in to slaughter his enemy. Berserker. In his rage, the giant hasn't changed. He's still trapped in his battle with Saber. Blind, insane, and rotting, he dies a second death while fighting to protect Ilia. 1 second. The charging giant won't stop at one attack, and normal projections won't save me. My trace projections won't work on him. I can't defeat this giant unless I project something beyond my limits. So I visualize 9 blows. I duck the first swing, activating all 27 latent magic circuits in my body. 2 seconds. He's in front of me. The great sword comes down. Air pressure viciously whips me. I step in to meet the assault. My aim focuses on 8 vital points. And I surpass his sonic speed with godlike swiftness of my own. He won't go down. Berserker's still standing even after being ravaged by his own weapon. I take another step forward. My left hand holds a giant sword. I'm faster. Berserker's dying without 8/10 of his body. I can finish him first. I lift the sword to chest height and drive it in like a spear. But I lost. My initiative didn't matter. I used every last drop of the rule-breaking power I was given. I still lost. Berserker's attack comes swinging down. It kicks up a tempest that buffets me. I twist my body, evading with all my might. I saw the attack coming. I can dodge this. Berserker's slash will only graze my temple. But even that would be lethal. He only needs to graze me by a few millimeters to kill me. A direct blow would be literally earth-shattering. A close shave by his sword tip would splatter my head like tofu. The greatsword swoops in. My vision freezes the instant my head's about to be taken off. But his greatsword, swung with menacing drive, halts with equally frightening abruptness. The executioner's axe stops short of my neck. The dark giant is looking at something in front of him. Not at me. His mindless eyes are staring at a pale girl peeking out of the trench. I pierce him. I don't miss the opportunity to mercilessly drive my sword through Berserker's heart. He doesn't fight back. This time the giant's remaining life crumbles to dust. In those final moments, his fading red eyes urge me to protect her. Oh, Berserker. The battle only lasted a moment. It really was finished in the span of a single breath. With trembling lips, the boy told the girl that he was leaving. He took the red bindings in his hand and left her side, swallowing his fatigue and his worry. She came out of the ditch to stop him. For an instant, she watched his back shrink into the distance, unsure of what to say or if she could stop him, until she couldn't take it and came out after him. Less than 10 seconds had passed. That brief hesitation decided the outcome of the duel. She emerges from the trench. The battle was already over. Her giant protector looked at her as he disappeared. A breeze enters the clearing as if to announce the end of the fight. All she can see is the boy's back. The battle is over. The arm is no longer a heroic spirit's arm. The boy challenged death with his own power and won. She keeps watch over him. From behind, it seems as if he'll never look at her again. Freed of the holy shroud, the victorious boy looks so gallant. He won't show any more doubt. The moment he tore the shroud off and created that projection, he cast off all distractions. She watches him gloomily from behind. The boy has become someone else. Something else. He has chosen a foolish but noble conclusion, and there is no going back. I restart my frozen lungs. My left arm feels hot and my entire body aches. An electric eel coils its way through my body. I can't possibly stand. Hurry. I need to hurry and wrap my arm in the shroud again. I'll hit the time limit unless I escape this pain. But I can't seal it back up quite yet. I can rest and put down this arm, Yep. Once I defeat her.
Saber.
I face Saber. I swallow my pain and steel myself for another fight. Saber slowly approaches, as if she'd always intended to tag in for the defeated giant. She stops. She's 7 meters away, close enough for her to close the gap and strike in one breath. I face her head on. I'm going to die. I can't move after fighting Berserker. I won't be able to avoid being cut in two when Saber rushes me. That's not all. I wouldn't be able to beat her even if I was at my best. No matter what I do, I can't project anything stronger than Saber's noble phantasm. So this outcome is certain. The only person who could defeat Saber is someone with a noble phantasm rivaling hers. But that's a contradiction. In sheer offensive power, Saber has the ultimate noble phantasm. Well, there might be a heroic spirit with stronger weapons than her sacred sword, but they're not in this Holy Grail war. Right now, only Saber's sword can defeat her. So it's a contradiction. In this situation, Saber's the strongest servant. The last time I saw Sakura, she had an inconceivable amount of magical energy. Even Sakura wouldn't be able to beat Saber. Unlike when I was her master, Saber now has an adequate energy source. She's effectively invincible.
無駄なことを。あなたではさくらは救えないと忠告した結果がそれか。
Saber's voice is stone cold. That's the signal. She comes to cut me down without a shred of hesitation or mercy. So what? I can't let her kill me here. I can't lose even if I'm fighting Saber. I might not be able to beat her, but I can at least take Ilya and get away.
だが幸運だな。自滅する者に関わっている場合ではなくなった。さくらが私を呼んでいる。
Huh? Saber turns her back on me and starts heading deep into the forest.
いや、運ではなく、自らの手で勝ち取った成果か。あなたはバーサーカーを倒した。その決意がこの結果を引き寄せたのだから。
Saber leaves without turning back. I can't stop her. She's the enemy. Whatever her reasons, I can only be grateful that she let us go. I'm wounded from head to toe. I can't afford to ask an enemy to stay. I bite back the pain and turn in the opposite direction as Saber fades into the distance. I need to take Ilya and leave this forest. Saber isn't our only enemy. We might have gotten away from Sakura in the shadow, but Zoken is still a threat as long as he's around. Well, he's not around anymore. I know what's happening to my body. I know what will happen. I have 3 projections left. No, even one would be risky, if I want to stay in one piece. I can't face Zoken, an assassin, in this condition. There's no point if my body tears itself apart right after I win. I need to keep my promise to Tosaka and save myself for that final effort. I might not be able to fight anymore, but there's still hope.
シロ、
I hear Ilya's voice.
ああ、今は少しでも早く森を出よう。セイバーの、いや、さくらの気が変わったら今度こそ逃げきれない。
I can't look at Ilya. My heartbeat drums a cacophony that's bouncing around inside my skull. Purification by Holy Word. The priest's exorcism dispersed Zoken Mato's spiritual body. Only 2 men are left in the clearing. Kirei Kotomine leans against a wall, bloody and battered, his robes stained red. Assassin is pinned to a tree by black keys.
完全に魔術師どもを消したな、大公者。あれが虫の集まりだと知っていたのか。
He turns to face the voice. Assassin is gone. Only a blood stain and the black keys remain embedded in the tray.
あれとは長い付き合いでな。虫を触媒にしてこちらに干渉する霊体だと知っていた。故に肉体をちぎったところ
Literally
で効
grinded him
果
to
は
paste against a brick wall.
殺すのなら跡形もなく肉体をすりつぶすか。
貴様のように霊体そのものに攻撃するか。なるほど。人間にしては強いくくりでとどまっていた魔術師どもだが、今日悪霊払いとはよく言ったものだ。魔頭造剣にとって貴様は天敵だったということか。
The priest doesn't answer. He checks his injuries. His bleeding is stopped. He's lost his weapons, but he isn't critically wounded. A few minutes rest should be enough to recover his strength.
それでどうするのだ、アサシン。お前のマスターは消えた。魔力提供がなくなったお前ならば、私の聖言でも十分に通用する
が。だろうな。この体はじき消える。
Oh, let me guess. These two are gonna team up now?
この森に漂う浮遊霊と大差はない。この身は一日を待たず下級霊に落ち、この世から消えるだろう。
そうだ。マスターのいないサーバントであらば、私でも傷は与えられる。それでどうなのだ。主の敵討ちをするか、アサシン。
それほど推挙ではない。魔術師殿は慢心によって敗北した。私の落ち度とは思えぬ。思えぬが、合点のいかぬことがある。それを聞かねば収まりがつかん。
ザバーニーヤの不成功か。シャイタンより譲り受けた腕と見たが、ザバーニーヤの名を冠する以上、
Oh, it's that
私
simple?
に効き目はない。それは人を罰する者ゆえ、同種の存在を呪えるものだ。
Right.
すでに人のものではない私の心臓は、呪いにはめっぽう強いのだ。
やはり貴様の心臓はあの娘と同じだった。貴様すでに汚染されていたな。
The priest doesn't answer. His lips only curl into a sardonic smile.
だが、だとしてもなぜ知っていた。貴様の行動は私の腕が効かないとし、貴様は初めから私に宝具を使わせるつもりでいたな。
そうだな。お前の腕は知っていたぞ、アサシン。対象の心臓と全く同じ偶像を作り、反響存在とすることで実像の心臓とすり替える呪いの腕。私のサーバントはその腕によって破れたのだ。
He used to kill Lancer.
では貴様は。
ああ、見ていたとも。奴が生き絶える瞬間までな。知っていたのは当然だろう。ランサーを倒した時点でお前の失態は決まっていた。
確かにこれは失態だ。
Assassin clicks his tongue with loathing. He dismisses his bloodlust. Disappointed, he leaves. The priest's response seems to have satisfied his curiosity.
次の契約者を探しに行ったか。大方。次の雇用主はマトサクラといったところだが。
The priest has no problem with that. As long as Zoken Mato doesn't kill Sakura Mato, he doesn't care. Zoken wishes for immortality. Obtaining Sakura's body will satisfy that desire. As long as the old man is alive, the curse gestating within the Holy Grail will never be born. It would be meaningless to have Sakura become an insect's vessel after she has grown this much. He needs her to keep being a master. Because...
そう、お前には永遠にない。主は生まれながら欠落しておる。
He feels slightly dizzy when he stands up. He must be exhausted. The priest leans against a wall and sleepily closes his eyes for a time. It happened 10 years ago. Flawed from the moment you were born, the man tried many things after he realized this truth. In his youth, he did not understand morals, but he did possess common sense. He attempted to overcome this flaw, but it was not to be. His pain and struggle ended in failure. His last effort was a woman. It was a simple tale. Any human dreams of loving something of the opposite sex, having a family and dying a peaceful death. No one spurns that peace or fails to dream of it. He was no exception. Even if it didn't appeal to him at all, he decided that it would be nice to have. And he loved a woman to obtain some measure of human-like happiness. He chose a woman with no future. She was ill, with only years left to live. Did he choose her because of that, or because he had no other choice? Even now, he's not sure why. They spent about 2 years together. The man tried to love the woman. The woman did her best to love him back, and she gave him a child. But the outcome did not change. The man found happiness in his woman's suffering and his child's despair. The more he tried to love her, the more she suffered. To him, it was the only saving grace of their bond. The contradiction did not bother him. He is not even sure if he suffered. But the more the woman tried to soothe him, the more he found himself wanting to see her grief. She was a saint. She was frail, but he would have called her a saint. It need not be said how profound her faith was, and how well she understood his rage. That is why he nearly despaired. He would never again meet someone who understood him so well and tried to heal him. But even this woman could not fill the void within him. So there was no need to question his life any longer. He was born flawed. His birth was a mistake. He concluded that if he was a mistake, then he should disappear. He went to part ways with the woman before his death. He married her as an experiment, so he was obligated to let her know it was over. The woman loved Kotomine. Kotomine tried to love her too. That's all there was to it. The end came all too quickly.
私にはお前を愛せなかった。
He told her, in a room surrounded by stone walls. The woman smiled on her deathbed. Her body, all skin and bones, could not even stand anymore.
いいえ、あなたは私を愛しています。
Then she smiled and ended her own life. He didn't try to stop her. There would have been no point in doing so. The woman had a terminal illness. She would have died sooner or later. He knew that when he chose her. As her consciousness faded, the blood-soaked woman looked up at the man and laughed.
ほら、あなた、泣いているのね。
Of course, he didn't shed a single tear. He only looked that way to her. With her death, the woman proved to him that he could love someone else, and that his life was worth living. He left the room without saying another word and abandoned the Lord's teachings. Yes, he did think it was sad, but not because she died. In that moment, he thought,
なんということだ。どうせ死ぬのなら私が手を下したかった。
he did not mourn her death, but lamented the fact that he couldn't enjoy it. It happened a long time ago. He can't remember her face anymore, never mind her voice. But sometimes he thinks,
私が手を下したかった。
would that have brought him joy? Or was it because he loved her that he was sorry he couldn't kill her? He would sever that train of thought whenever he found himself dwelling on it. That question would be left to eternity. The woman's death was meaningless, because her devotion failed to change him, but he did not want it to be worthless. He would never try to answer that question. It happened a long, long time ago. It was the memory of a man nourished by the misfortune of others, who found fulfillment in the world's corruption. After that, the man met his arch-nemesis, Kiritsugu Emiya, a mage who chose to invalidate everything the man might have wanted for himself. The priest opens his eyes. It seems he was asleep for a while. After confirming that his strength had returned, he begins walking to catch up to Shiro Emiya.
いいえ、 どこにも行けない。
Oh, hey, Sakura.
だってあなたはここで死ぬんだもの。
A girl blocks his path. She is completely changed. She is clothed in her own shadow. Her dark magical energy cloaks her like a part of her own body. The sheer amount of her magical energy and her existence are no longer that of a human's. Her spiritual caliber has now reached the level of a pure heroic spirit, a counter-guardian.
完全に汚染されたな、麻藤さくら。体だけではない。精神まであの呪いに同調しなければ、そこまでの変貌はない。認めたな。自分が怪物なのだと。開き直ったというわけだ。
The priest denounces her, even though he wished for it. He scolds her for becoming drunk on her own power.
そう、自分の力に酔うのはいけませんか。けどきっと仕方のないことなんですよ。もっとみんなが優しかったら、私だってもう少しぐらい我慢したと思うんです。
ほう。我慢とは何をかな。
自分をですよ、神父さん。こうなってやっと認められました。私、この世界が嫌いなんです。私を捨てた遠坂の家、私とは何もかも違う。何不自由なく生きてきた姉さん、怖いおじいさまとかわいそうな兄さん、私の痛みも知らず平穏に過ごす街並み、そういうのが今はすごく許せないです。これが八つ当たりだって理解しています。けど悪いことだって分かっていても思ってしまうんです。そう、今まで私を助けてくれなかった全てに私を思い知らせてあげたらどんな顔をするのかって。
The girl smiles in grim delight. The priest is unaffected. He looks at the girl like something dirty.
変わったな、麻藤さくら。なるほど。その闇も適合するための素質だったというわけか。
ええ、変わりました。私は今までの麻藤さくらじゃない。あんな弱い子はもういないの。そう、今までみんな私を苦しめてきたんだもの。その仕返しに私がみんなを苦しめてあげるだけ。ただ耐えているだけの私はとっくに消えたわ。
She giggles. Multiple personalities. Sakura Mato is gone, replaced by a separate personality that was sleeping within. It's the only explanation for her wildly different, charming attitude. But...
何を言う。隠す必要などないぞ、麻藤さくら。
the priest denies her with a blunt sentence.
何をですか。
隠す必要などないと言った。お前は別人格などではない。泥に飲まれ暴力に酔うお前もまた麻藤さくらだ。異なる人格を用意し、麻藤さくらは悪くないなどと言い訳をする必要はない。
The girl's face stiffens. Is it true? The blackened girl grits her teeth and glares back at the priest.
何よ、あなたが私をこうしたくせに。
Her shadows writhe in concert with her loathing. They erode everything around her like a blaze. The speed with which her shadows cover the ground is nothing like before.
否定はせん。私がお前を生かしたのはあれのマスターを続けさせるためだ。その期待に応え、お前は見事アベンジャーを誕生させようとしている。私ではできなかったこと お前は難なくやってのけたのだ。
難なくなんかじゃない。私がどれだけ苦しかったのか、今もどれだけ苦しいのか知りもしないで。
知らんし知る必要もない。小娘の恨み事を聞くほど酔狂ではないのでな。
そうですね。私も知ってほしいなんて思わない。そんな簡単に同情なんてされてやらない。私はこれから一方的に思い知らせる立場なんですから。
A cruel smile plays across her lips. The priest doesn't hesitate to retreat. He moves with the same swiftness that caught Zoken Mato in midair. He only takes one bound away. The girl is an amateur, despite her enormous magical power. He can easily get away from someone who lacks experience in both combat and magecraft.
バカな人。逃げられると思うの、私から。
She snickers. Instantly, the priest goes limp and tumbles to the ground. He tumbles down. Kirei Kotomine crumbles, spewing something red from his mouth. He doesn't stop. He keeps vomiting blood, and each time he tries to fill his lungs with air, he coughs up more blood.
どうですか？心臓をわしづかみにされた感想は。
Right.
どこにいようと。
Because his heart is completely
あな
infested
た
with the
の
mud.
命は私の
So
手
it
の
makes
上
sense
なん
that
ですよ。
someone able to control like Sakura can basically has his life in her hands.
神父さん、あなたはもう10年前に死んでいた。エミやキリズクに心臓を撃ち抜かれて死んだんです。それでも生きてこれた理由はただ一つ。あなたは誰だったかな。この前食べたサーバントさんなんですけど、まあ名前なんていいですよね。あの金色の人が聖杯の中身を浴びて、まずあれとつながった。けど、あの人は汚染できなくて、あれはマスターであるあ
Oh,
な
so
たに流れてきたんです
Gil
よ
really was
ね。
never corrupted by the Grail, huh? I kind of doubted it. Whenever he said that he wasn't corrupted, I kind of doubted it, but man, I guess not.
そうしてあなたは蘇生した。アベンジャー、アンリマユから魔力を供給されることで一命を取り留めたんです。
そうか。では今のは。
はい。あなたはアンリマユとつながっている。けどアンリマユはもう私でしょ。だから潰してあげたんです。今まであなたを生かしていたかりそめの心臓を壊しました。お望みなら中身を全部潰してあげましょうか。私の手はあなたがどこにいようとその中身を引きずり出せるんですから。
The girl raises a hand. Her gracious offer isn't sincere at all. She has no intention of letting the priest leave alive. She'll just laugh and kill him if he begs for his life. She'll take back the temporary life that sustained him. After all, it belongs to her. Even if the amount of magical energy has is equivalent to a speck of dust in the corner of her bedroom, she doesn't need to let him have it.
さよなら。私を生かしてくれたことだけは感謝しますね、神父さん。
The girl's lovely fingers curl around an invisible doll. There's a squeezing noise. The priest on the ground is wrung out like a rag. Just one more twist. In less than a second, the priest will die completely. But just before that, the girl crumples to her knees. She's savaged by nausea and discomfort. She claws at the blackened ground as if pleading for help. The shadows expand. Something must have happened. The black robe covering her body suddenly blooms before returning to its original size. Oh. That was when we killed Berserker. There can't be any other reason. Berserker was defeated. With his death, the pure magical energy of his soul flowed into the girl, the Holy Grail. Her mind twists. Sakuramato's personality is pushed further to the edge. There shouldn't be any more room, but a massive soul has her pressed against a wall. She'll disappear. She'll be gone for good. At this rate, Sakuramato will disappear. She remembers she meant to kill the priest and looks up. She curses herself for being too slow to follow through. The ruins are empty now. All that remains on the spot where Kirei Kotomine had been lying is his bloodied vestment. Well, Kotomine got out of there somehow. Thanks to us defeating Berserker, I guess. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Well, Ilya saved, Berserker defeated. We reached the forest's exit sooner than I imagined. It's probably because Ilya showed me the way. She owns these woods. When we go out to the highway, the car I arrived in is gone. We start walking in the direction of the town and decide to flag down a passing vehicle to take us the rest of the way. Wounded and covered in mud, Ilya and I must look suspicious. We run in front of a passing car to get it to stop, and then Ilya hypnotizes the surprised driver into taking us home. Wow. I never thought in my life that I'd hitchhike like a carjacker. We got home before I knew it. The sun is going down. At some point during the several hours it took to return from the forest, I must have dozed off. The sun is set by the time I'm back in the living room. The clock reads past 7 p.m. Something's wrong. Time is passing too quickly. It was barely sunset when I got into the house, but the moment I entered the living room, night has fallen. That's impossible.
Ilya, なんか時間が過ぎるの早すぎないか?
I talked to Ilya next to me. But Ilya isn't next to me. Ilya is...
晩ご飯なら美味しかったよ、シロ。
He's cooking dinner in this state? She's already in the living room saying something odd.
晩ご飯?
ええ、まずは栄養を取るんだって言った時は驚いたけど、おかげでいい思いしちゃった。シロは張り切って台所に立ってたし。
There are remains of a meal on the dining table. Enough used dishes for two. I calmly think it through and realize that I feel full. Seems like I really did cook dinner.
おかしいな。こんな食材買い置きしてたっけ?
してないよ。してないから商店街でおろしてもらっていっぱい買い物してきたんじゃない。
I searched my memory. Oh well. Maybe that did happen.
そうか。変なこと言っちまったな。とりあえず夕食は済んだんだ。
ええ、 ゆっくり休むだけだね、シロ。
うん、そうだな。休まないとな。ちょっと部屋で着替えてくる。話があるから、イリアはもうちょっと起きててくれ。すぐ戻る。
Ilya nods. I apologize and leave the living room. Yeah, Ilya realizes. I mean, you would kind of have to. I find myself in the bedroom. The second I left the living room, I collapsed in my room. I'm awoken by stabbing pain. A sword is stabbing the left side of my chest. That's the only way I can describe it. My chest is hot and numb. It feels like my life force is gushing out instead of blood. Of course, I'm not literally being stabbed. That's just a hallucination. The part of my body that's closest to my left arm is rejecting the sense of wrongness coming from it. And that's when I realize it. The way time seems to pass too quickly. The disjointed images, they're all...
おかしいのは時間の感覚じゃなくて。
There's just something wrong with my memory. I'm not missing memories of my past, but I'm not making new records of my experiences. Bit by bit, when I let time pass without focusing, I don't remember anything that happens during that time. No wonder I can't remember anything that happened since leaving the forest. If not for this pain, I'd have lost my mind by now. That's bad. Keep forgetting that's being read to me. Don't need to read those. I grab hold of my consciousness that seems to cut off whenever I relax. Unless I stay aware of myself and keep my mind in tight focus, Shiro Emiya will disappear. My memories and myself won't hold together unless I keep my focus as keen as the pain stabbing me in the chest. In other words, I need to maintain the same level of concentration that I did when I tried to insert magic circuits into my spine, at all times. Uh-oh. I can't keep that up, and even if I could, I don't know how long it'll keep working.
待てよ。となると、眠るのはまずいよな。
I'll never wake up if I sleep. If I fall asleep, I won't go back to being Shiro Emiya. My mind will be torn to pieces without a single wound on my physical body. I rise. I rummage through my desk. I need some kind of small blade, something I could hide in my right hand and squeeze to cut myself. I can't constantly maintain a state of concentration like when I'm training. When it feels like the images are about to cut out, I'll make a fist and use the pain to ground myself.
刃物とはいかないけど、これなら。
I find the crystal I got a while ago in my desk. The night I became a master, I found this pendant lying next to me after Lancer killed me. I don't know how much magical energy it used to contain, but it doesn't have enough left to use my strengthening even once. Yeah, I could try to figure out who saved my life that night. They must be the owner of this pendant. We were the only ones on campus that night. I don't know why they saved me, but it was someone who didn't need a reason to help a dying person. My consciousness is cutting out. I'll figure this out later. If I think of fun or happy things, I'll relax and pass out. I confirm my fighting strength. I've broken the seal on my left arm. The Holy Shroud is still wrapped around it, but all it does is take the edge off now. Kotomine told me that using Archer's arm would flip a switch. It's too late to do anything about it now. My body is still functional. The problem is with my brain. I can't keep going as long as I don't sleep. As for projection, I can probably use Archer's blade works no more than 3 times. If it's just once, I can deal with it. Twice scares me a little, to be honest. And the 3rd projection will be decisive. My mind might remain, but I have a feeling my body will self-destruct. I close my eyes and focus on my ears. I hear a hard, grinding noise next to my heartbeat. Something's invading my body from Archer's left arm. Each time I use Bladeworks, I lose control of his reality marble and create unlimited Bladeworks inside my body instead of outside of it. I don't want to think about the consequences of that. I'm going to get stabbed from the inside by 1,000 swords and die.
冗談。死滅なんかしてたまるか。
The situation is desperate. I've more or less accepted that. I just need to break out of these straits. I won't die and I won't kill myself. Sleeping and never waking up. That's just a cowardly delusion. I'll be saved. Once I do what I need to do and end all of this, I'll be saved. There's no point to it otherwise. I said that I'd protect Sakura no matter what, so I can't go dying on my own.
そうだ。まず遠坂に連絡を取らないと。
There's no time. I gotta hurry over to Tosaka's house. I wonder if Kotomine is safe, but now that I rescued Ilya, he'll probably go back to his usual stance. I don't want his help, but I promised. It's past 9 o'clock. I meant to be right back, but it's been 2 hours.
あれ、待たせた、イリア。今から遠坂の家に行くから一緒に行こう。
リンの家？別に私は構わないけど、なんで？
なんでって、遠坂と合流しないと。それにあいつの容体だって気になるだろう。琴峰は夜になれば回復するとか言ってたけど、あいつの言い分はいまいち信用できない。遠坂が参ってたら手当てをしてやらないと。
それはいいけど、シロ。
Ilya points at the wall. Oh.
心配してもらって
Oh,
嬉し
hey,
いわ。
Rin.
とりあえず私の調子は見ての通りよ。けどそこまで気にかけてくれるんだったら森に行く前に私の家に寄っていってほしかったわね。
遠坂、いつの間にこっちに来てたんだ。
ほんの1時間前よ。森で何が起きたのかはイリアから聞いたわ。
Tosaka's in a bad mood. No, she's positively furious. She must be upset that we went to the forest without her.
仕方ないだろう。あの時は一刻を争うと思ったし、事実イリアだって危ないところだったんだ。だったんだよな、イリア。
そうね。私は閉じ込められてはいなかったけど、数分後には大聖杯に連れて行かれて心臓を抜き取られていてもおかしくなかった。造剣は桜を乗っ取り次第私で門を開けようとしていたから、素人琴峰が来るのがあとちょっとでも遅かったら今頃は死んでいたわ。
ほら、遠坂を待ってたら間に合わなかっただろ。
どうだか今の言い訳じゃ桜次第ってことでしょ。イリア、本当のところはどうなのよ。
あ、やっぱりバレちゃったか。ええ、本当はもうちょっと猶予があったかな。桜は芯が強いから簡単に壊れたりしない。桜が自我をなくして造剣の操り人形になるまであと1日は
やっぱりあのねイリア、あんまりシロを甘やかしちゃダメよ。こいつには人一倍厳しいぐらいがちょうどいいんだから。
そうね。リンがシロにそうしてくれるなら私はもう安心かな。
I watched them rake me over the coals. But even if there was an extra day's worth of time left, I'm still not sure I could have made it in time with Tosaka, even if we went right now. I was faced with a tough choice in the forest, but thanks to that, all three of us are here again. I tightly squeezed my wandering mind. Tosaka and Ilya's banter threatened to relax my tension.
ちょっと待ってくれ、イリア。桜が一日持つかどうかってことは、残った猶予はあと
半日あるかどうかよ。いいえ、桜がどう頑張ってももうアベンジャーは生まれようとしている。あれが受胎してしまえば桜は完全に変わる。誰も桜を助けられなくなるし、誰も助からなくなるのよ。
アベンジャー。
Tosaka and I frown at the unfamiliar word.
そう、復讐者。聖杯戦争における第8のクラス、ハインツベルンがルールを破ってまで召喚した反則よ。それが大聖杯の中を呪いで汚染したもの。自分じゃ外に出れないからって桜と同化して黒い影を映していた本体。そして今も形を得ようと人間の命を食べ続けているありえない存在。それがアベンジャー。3度目の儀式でアインツベルンのマスターが召喚してしまった 呼んではいけなかった半英雄。
イリア、あなた知ってるの？あの影が何なのか、さくらが何に取りつかれてるかって。
ええ、さくらから必要な情報を取り出して何が起きているのかは理解できた。私がやるべきこと、シロたちが敵とみなしているものが何であるかを。
Ilya closes her eyes once. In resignation, I think. She sighs and she seems to make up her mind about something.
これから話すことは私たちの確信であり、もう関係のない話。あなたたちが背負うべきものでもない。シロとリンには聖杯戦争に関わった最後のマスターとして、ただ事実。
イリア。
Tosaga looks at her in amazement. So do I. Right now, Ilya is displaying a hollow calm that makes her seem like a different person.
事の起こりは200年前。いえ、聖杯を求める彼らの放浪はもっと前から続いていたけど、この土地での儀式が始まったのは200年前からだった。話はそこから始めるわ。聖杯、あらゆる願いを叶える願望機。その完成のため、アインツベルンとマキリ、遠坂は協力して聖杯を召喚する儀式を行った。それが聖杯戦争の発端。7人の英霊を召喚して聖杯の所有権を定める殺し合い。聖杯によってマスターに選ばれた魔術師は英霊のよりしろとなり、最後の一人になるまで殺し合う。それがシローとリンが知っている聖杯戦争の表向きの決まり事。驚かないのね、リン。やっぱりあなたもうすうすは感づいていたの？
それなりにはね。誰かに利用されてるってことはすぐに気づいたけど、あんまり気にはしなかったわ。人様が作ったシステムを使ってその成果をいただこうって言うんだもの。利用し利用されるのはお互い様でしょ。
Okay, thought I read that wrong for a second.
いちいち目くじら立てるほどバカじゃないわ。
そう。じゃあ順番が逆ということはもう説明しなくていい？シロはどう？本当はサーバント同士に戦わせるなんて過程そのものが余分なんだって気づいてた？
I guess I did now that I think about it. Servants are summoned by the Holy Grail. Heroic spirits are summoned as tools to test the worthiness of those chosen by the Holy Grail. To obtain the Holy Grail, the summoned heroic spirits make contracts with hosts, masters who will anchor them to the mortal world, and fight to defeat all the other Grail Seekers. If that's all it was, then I might have looked past it. But when I learned that defeated heroic spirits are absorbed into the Holy Grail instead of disappearing, I started to have questions. Heroic spirits, servants, are components used to select the worthiest master for the Holy Grail. So why are they stored in the Holy Grail once they've served their purpose?
つまり聖杯戦争にとって必要なのは英霊だけで、マスターはただ英霊を呼び寄せるためだけの道具だってことか。
そう。聖杯戦争という儀式において、マスターはサーバントをこの世に呼び出すレセプターに過ぎない。サーバントさえ召喚してくれれば、あとはマスターなんていつ死んでもらっても構わないのよ。聖杯完成に必要なものは英霊だけ。時間軸の外にいる純粋な魂、この世の道理から外れ、なおこの世に干渉できる外界の力、それが英霊の本質でしょ。彼らはその力を必要とした。その力を持って外界に出ようとした。それがこの地に作られた聖杯の本当の目的。人の手では届かぬ奇跡、未だ人間のものではない現象を手に入れるため、この地における聖杯戦争は行われてきた。それは私たちから失われたとされる神秘、 真の不老不死を実現させる大儀礼。英霊でも精霊でもない、意図小さき人の位において、肉体の死後に消え去り帰り、この世から失われる魂を物質化する神の技。その奇跡の名をヘブンズフィール。
Cup of Heaven.
現存する5つの魔法のうちの1つ、3番目に位置する黄金の杯よ。魔法ってあの魔法？
We're stunned. Ilya said that the Holy Grail is a ritual to operate magic. Magic. Mystics that magecraft can't achieve. Phenomena that current humans can't realize through any means. It's said to be the final objective of mages, and they call those who master it magicians with envy and awe. Currently, the Mages Association recognizes 5 magics. An outsider like me, on the edges of the edge, no, who isn't even affiliated with the association, couldn't possibly know what the details are. But I've heard that there are 5 rituals that are recognized as magic, and that there are 4 people who can use them.
ちょっと待って、第三魔法って魂の物質化なの？けどそれならサーバントだって魂の物質化じゃない。
違うわ。確かにシステムの基盤は第三魔法の一部を使っているけど、兵霊はあくまで高齢でしょ。サーバントはこの地上にこの時代のものとして生きているわけじゃない。第三魔法としては不完全だし、兵霊なら魔法の力なんてなくてもよりしろさえあれば実体化できる。ヘブンズフィールは過去にいたものを読み上げて複製体を作る技じゃない。それは精神体でありながら単体で物質界に干渉できる高次元の存在を作る技。魂そのものを生き物にして生命体として次のステップに向かうものを言うのよ。
So the next stage of human life.
次のステップって、確かにそれはとんでもない大事だけでもイリア、どんなに内容が違うって言っても魔法は全部根源に至る道でしょ。それが聖杯とどんな関係があるのよ。いいえ、だいたい魔法を起動できるような管理地は日本に一つしかない。冬季の霊脈も一級品だって自負してるけど、それでも根源につながるほどの歪みはないわ。
ええ、届くほど歪んではいない。だから穴を開けるのよ。道がつながっていないなら自分たちで壁を壊すしかないでしょ。その壁を壊すという行為が聖杯戦争なの。その過程でどんな願いでも叶えられるぐらいの魔力がたまるのだけど、それはアインツベルンには二次的なもの、もしくはマスターを呼び寄せるための宣伝でしかなかった。アインツベルンが必要としたのは魔術協会の目につかず大量の魔力を貯蔵できる巨大な魔法陣だけ。時の遠坂の当主は彼らに協力した。もともと教会の目が届きにくいこの国で青崎の管理地に次ぐ一等地は数少ないわ。
I know that name.
ハインツベルンにとって冬季の町は必要条件を満たした完璧に近い実験場だった。あとはもうわかるでしょ。聖杯戦争を司る聖杯は2種類。この土地に眠る聖杯とハインツベルンが用意する聖杯。
Yeah, the lesser and greater grail.
前者が遠坂の管理地を使った魔法陣、これを大聖杯と呼び、ハインツベルンが毎回鍵として用意するものを聖杯と呼ぶ。大聖杯は聖杯戦争のシステムを管理するもので、聖杯は破れていた英霊の魂を回収し大聖杯を動かすための炉心に当たるわ。そうして大聖杯起動に必要な分の魂が聖杯に溜まった時、外部からの割り人である英霊の魂を利用して穴を開ける。役目を終えた彼らが元の座に戻ろうとする瞬間、わずかに開いた穴を大聖杯の力で固定し、人の身では届かない根源への道を開く。 もちろんこんなのは初めの一歩。花を開けられたところで望みのものは手に入らない。根源への道は遠すぎる。それでも聖杯を手にした者は無尽蔵の魔力を手に入れられる。あっち側にはまだ誰も使っていない、この地上とは比べ物にならない大量のマナが散布されてるからね。普通、
そう、要するに大聖杯っていう大元の魔法陣があって、聖杯はそれを起動させる鍵なわけね。聖杯戦争が50年周期なのは英霊を召喚するだけのマナを貯めるためか。それだけの召喚術、個人の魔力で起動できるはずがない。大聖杯は50年かけてこの土地に満ちるマナを枯らさないよう少しずつ吸い上げ、それが溜まった時、
そう、英霊を召喚してサーバントにする。けど英霊を召喚するには代償が必要なの。彼らは望むものを与えてあげないとこちらの召喚に応じてくれない。だから聖杯を用意して彼らの望みに応えてあげた。もっともそんなのは初めから欺瞞だけど、ハインツベルンは元から英霊の魂だけが欲しかった。彼らの霊格なんてどうでもよくて、ただ強大な魂が欲しかっただけよ。それを隠すために聖杯戦争なんて表向きのルールを作って、サーバントとマスターを騙して今まで殺し合いを続けさせた。ま、そうなったのは2回目の儀式かららしいわ。1度目は馬鹿正直に英霊を召喚して、遠坂とマキリとアインツベルンで独占権の取り合いになって、あっという間に失敗したんだって。だから今のルールができたのは2回目からよ。外来の魔術師を呼び寄せて、それぞれ聖杯を目的にして殺し合わせる。自分たち以外のマスターなんてサーバーとさえ呼んでしまえば邪魔なだけだし、戦いの中で死んでもらった方が効率がいい。3家にとってみれば自分たち以外の協力者を合法的に始末できるんだから、都合が良かったのよ。
呆れた。じゃあ何？マスター同士殺し合うってルールは所有権が誰にあるか話し合いで解決できなかったから力ずくで決めようとしたことの末路なわけ？
そうよ。でもその殺し合うって選定方法は思いのほか合っていたわ。今のリンと同じよ。騙されてると気づくサーバントやマスターもいたけど、そんな背景はどうでもよかったみたいね。だって勝ち残れば結果として聖杯は手に入るんだから。
Tosaka seems to accept that. In other words, the Holy Grail war ritual wasn't meant to obtain the Holy Grail, but to use it to go outside of the world. It was an attempt to go outside. According to the studies of the arcane, a power said to be the pinnacle of the dimensional theory is located outside of this world. It's called the Swirl of the Root, and its coordinates are believed to be the origin of all things. It's said to be the seat of the gods, the alpha and omega of creation, where everything in the world is recorded and everything in the world can be made. But who cares about all that, honestly? My old man might have understood how important it was, but it has absolutely nothing to do with me. What's important is how it concerns the identity of the thing possessing Sakura.
イリア、聖杯戦争の本当の目的とかはいい。イリアの言った通り、それは俺たちには関係のない
Glad we're on
話
this
だ。
long tangent about something we didn't need to know.
それより、さっき言ってたやつのことを聞かせてくれ。
関係ないって魔法よ、魔法。しかも3番目の魔法なんて教会でもずっと秘密にされてきた禁忌中の禁忌じゃない。あなたも魔術師なら第3魔法って聞いて無視できるわけ？
できる。まったく何考えてるんだ、遠坂。今はそんな成功しないものの話をしている場合じゃないだろう。
成功しないって一体どんな根拠様よ、それ。
あのな、理由はわからないが、聖杯戦争は一度も勝利者を出していないだろう。ならこの儀式はどこかで仕組みを間違えていたってことだ。大体な、そうでなかったら さくらのことをどう説明するんだ。聖杯が魔法に至る道だって言うなら、さくらがあんな風になるのも魔法なのかよ。
Tosaka goes quiet. I seem to have struck a nerve.
それでイリア、どうしてこの聖杯戦争はこんなことになったんだ。聖杯の中には何かがいると琴峰は言った。その何かっていうのがアベンジャーってやつなのか。そいつは聖杯、イリアやさくらの中じゃなく大聖杯とかいう魔法陣の中にいると。
そっか、琴峰なら知っているわよね。あいつもさくらと同じ復讐者に汚染された魔術師だもの。聖杯の中にいるものが何であるかとっくの昔に知っていたんだ。
キレイがさくらと同じ？
そうよ。ここからはシローとリンに関係のある話。ゾウケンが手に入れようとしているもの、さくらを変貌させているもの、聖杯の中に潜み無色の力である英霊たちの魂を汚染しているものの話。そいつのクラス名がハベンジャー。聖杯の力で生命として形を得ようとしている第三魔法の成功例になりつつある英霊よ。
はあ？ちょっと何が魔法は関係ないよ。ちゃんと関係してるじゃない、ちゃんと。
いいえ、アベンジャーの物質化は聖杯による魔法じゃない。あれは元からそういう属性を持った英霊だった。アベンジャーだからこそ聖杯の中で物質化が可能なの。大聖杯は第三魔法を成し得る復讐者を呼び出したに過ぎず、大聖杯自体が第三魔法を成し得たわけではないわ。
So it's just Avengers' skill and not something the Grail is capable of doing.
つまりそいつは初めから物質化できる怪物だったってこと？大聖杯による魔法が成功しなくても勝手に第三魔法を体現するやつってこと？
そうよ。事の発端は3度目の戦いだ。1度目は失敗。2度目に序盤で敗れ去ったアインツベルンは追い詰められて、ただ殺すことだけに特化した英霊を召喚したの。
Right.
アインツベルンが手にした古い経典異国の伝承を触媒にして手の内にある中で最悪の魔を呼び出した。他のマスターたちを皆殺しにして問答無用で大聖杯を起動させ、成果を独り占めするために呼んではならないものを呼び寄せてしまった。その英霊の名がアンリマユ。世界最多ともいえるあらゆる呪いを体現した殺戮の半英雄。
アンリマユ。
Hang on. If I recall, Aramayu is the name of an ancient Persian demon. It's the greatest devil of Zoroastrianism, an advocate of evil that has been battling for 9,000 years against the light god safeguarding humanity's goodness. Zoroastrianism contains stories revolving around the conflict between two gods of good and evil. It's one of the first religions to feature the duality of angels and demons. But there is no hero named Aramayu. How could someone bearing the name of a devil king become a heroic spirit?
そんなわけないでしょ、イリア。聖杯は英霊しか呼べないし、そんな心霊レベルの現象を再現できるなら聖杯なんて必要ない。いいえ、そもそもアンリマユの名を冠する英雄なんているはずがない。いたとしてもそれは無名の歴史に何の痕跡も残してない悪霊に過ぎないわ。よ、イリア、アインツベルンのマスターは一体何を召喚したの？
だからアンリマユよ、リン。彼は確かに無名であったし、真実悪魔などではなかった。けれどアンリマユの名を冠した英雄は確かに存在したの。ええ、もうずっと昔、気の遠くなるくらい昔の、それは名前もないある村落に現れた英雄だった。彼らの教義がどう歪んでいたかは知らない。どうしてそんな考えに至ったかなんてわからない。ただ彼らは教義に基づいて清く正しく生きていた。 人間は善を尊び光を守り正しく生きる。貧しく外界から隔離された彼らにとってその祈りは絶対だった。そうであることが人間以下である彼らを人間たらしめる唯一の誇りだったんでしょうね。そう、その村落の人たちはね、本気で人間すべてがくだらない悪性から解き放たれ清く正しく生きられるように、飢餓とか殺戮とか愛憎とかあらかじめ人に付属された機能すべてを否定して自分たちは神に祝福されるにふさわしい生き物だって誇り続けた。けどそれは不可能な話よ。人間清く正しく生きているだけじゃ悪性からは解放されないもの。悪とは元からあるもの。それを切り離したいのなら何らかの手段を講じるしかない。そうしてその手段は実行された。彼らは自分たちの狭い世界だけでなく人間すべてを救える手段を考えついたの。この世の人間すべてに善行を取らせることは難しいけど、人間すべての善性を証明することはできる。たった一人の人間にこの世の悪を独り占めさせてしまえば残った人たちはどうあっても悪い。そんな子供みたいに単純なことを彼らは本気で信じてしまった。そうして一人の青年が生贄に選ばれた。彼らは青年を捕らえその全身に人を呪うあらゆる言葉を刻み、彼らが知り得る全ての罪業を与え全ての悪事を彼の責任とした。それでおしまい。狭い世界けれど完成された一つの世界において究極、彼らは彼を心底呪い侮蔑し恐れ同時に奉った。我々は清く正しい。あそこにこの世の全ての罪悪があるのなら我々は何をしても善なるものだと彼らは本気で世界中の人間のためになると信じて一人の悪魔を作り上げた。世界中の人々の善性を証明するために一人の青年を崩壊するまで殺し続けた。いえ、その寿命が尽きるまで殺してなどあげなかった。人間を堕落させる悪魔の名前、アンリマユの名前を与えられた青年は世界中の人間の敵としてただ理不尽に殺され憎まれつつ、その過程で青年が本当に悪魔になったかどうかは知らない。ただ村落中の人間が彼を悪魔だと信じそのように扱った。憎みながら恐れながら世界中の人間の善性を証明してくれる自分たちにとっての救いの証として奉った。意味嫌われる対象でありながら人々を救う者、その存在があるだけでどんなに人々が悪事を重ねようとも清く正しいと許される免罪符。そう、方法は違えど彼は人々を救った。村人たちにとって彼はこの上ない英雄となった。そうして一人の英雄が誕生した。人々に恨まれ自分などとうになくなっていつか本当にそうなってしまったもの。世界中の人間の代わりに悪を公言する哀れな生贄、それが反英雄アンリマユ。この世すべての悪と決めつけられた何の取り柄もなかった。ただ普通に生まれただけの一般人。廃家教において60億の悪すべてを容認するという悪魔の王、その体現者として葬られた原初の人の想念が作り上げた願いという名の呪いの形。
Ilya coolly describes an ancient event, with neither irony nor disdain. Anti-hero. Kotomine told me what it meant shortly after this war began. But if what Ilya is saying is true, the guy who became Anramayu would still bear the evil of humanity. He would be the reason he exists, if that's why he was treated as a hero. A heroic spirit blamed for the sins of 6 billion people. If someone like that was summoned, only slaughter would follow. He would hate humanity, and the people around him decided that he was evil anyway. I'll remind you. Someone crowned with the name of a devil taking revenge on the people who turned him evil. No. Is he using Sakura to carry out the duty that people wanted from him?
アベンジャー、アンリマユの話は分かったわ。けど、どうしてそいつが聖杯の中にいるわけ？いいえ、そもそもそいつはただの人間でしょ。いくらあんな町を人飲みするほどの怪物にはならないはずよ。
そうね、アンリマユは人間よ。ただの人間を無理やり英霊にしたものが彼だった。だから何の問題も起きなかったはずなのよ、本当は。3度目の戦いでハインツベルンはアンリマユを呼び出した。けど呼び出された英霊はすごく弱かった。
Yeah. If anything, he's like the weakest of all heroic spirits.
半英雄であるそれはまたも序盤で敗れていち早く聖杯に取り込まれた。ハインツベルンのマスターは嘆いたわ。普通の人間と全く変わらないやつのどこが人のよ。そう、事実その英霊はただの人間だった。ただこの世を恨んでいただけの人間。ただこの世の悪であれと望まれた人間。元から何の力もなく周りの人間の思いだけで構成されたありえないはずのもの。それが聖杯に取り込まれた時、全てが逆転してしまった。聖杯は人の望みを叶える願望機でもある。サーバントは敗れた後、方向性のない魔力として聖杯に戻ってそのまま解放の時を待つ。英霊としての人格もなくなった彼らは万能の力として聖杯にたまるだけなの。けどアンリマユは違った。彼は自分ではなく周りが願って作り上げた英雄。人格などなくともアンリマユである以上悪であれと望まれる存在だった。
まさかもしかしてそいつ。
そう、聖杯はあらゆる願いを叶える杯。
So he made a wish.
ただの人間であり性別も人格も人でさえない。それはもともと人間の願いそのものなのよ。
Or he was a wish.
だからアンリマユが聖杯に取り込まれた瞬間、聖杯は一つの願いを受諾してしまったの。本来ありえない存在。身勝手な願望だけで捏造された英霊は人々の願いを叶える聖杯の中においてようやく人々が望んだ姿で生まれることになった。マキリの500年、ハインツベルンの1000年なんて子供騙しよ。何しろあっちは2000年以上も前から続いた神代から願われてきた人間の理想なんだから。それがあの影の本体、英霊としてようやく形を得ようとする者の正体よ。ハンリマユはサーバントたちの無職の魂を糧に自分の霊格であるこの世全ての悪を体現してしまった。ただ悪であれと60億の人間全てを呪う、60億の人間全てを呪える能力を備えたサーバントとして少しずつ育っていったの。
じゃあ何？聖杯の中身はとっくにそいつに占拠されてて。いいえ、聖杯が叶える望みはとうに決まってしまっていて、4度目の戦いはそいつの願い、アンリマユを形にするための養分補充に過ぎなかったってこと？
ええ、キリツグがアンリマユというサーバントをけどキリツグは聖杯の外に出ようとしていた黒い影を危険視して聖杯を破壊した。それは正しいわ。以前のアンリマユはどうあれ聖杯によって受肉するアンリマユは本物だもの。 この世すべての悪として命ある限り人間を殺し尽くす魔王になる。けどそのアンリマユはキリツグの英断で出産には至らず大聖杯の中に残された。その一部を受けた者が琴峰でありさくらだった。造剣は聖杯の中にいる者が受肉しかけたサーバントだと気づいていたんでしょうね。だからその肉片をさくらに植え付け聖杯の中にいるサーバントとリンクさせた。聖杯の中にいるサーバントが外に出てきた時、それを従えられるようさくらをマスターにしたのよ。アンリマユが何であれサーバントであることに変わりはない。どんなに強力な存在でもサーバントはマスターには逆らえない。造剣の目的はそれよ。あいつはさくらを餌にしてアンリマユを釣り上げたいんでしょうね。
Wait, does that mean Sakura is contracted with Aramayu?
正気？それでアンリマユのコントロールを握ったところでさくらは黒い影、アンリマユからの魔力構成に耐えられない。アンリマユが聖杯の中にいる状態であそこまで変わったんだから、出てきてしまったらさくらの人格なんて消え去る。そうなったらマスターも何もないじゃない。
それでいいのよ。造剣はさくらの人格なんて考えていないもの。造剣にとって大切なのはアンリマユとつながっているさくらの体よ。あいつはさくらの人格が消え去った後、空っぽになった体を乗っ取る気なの。リンは知らないだろうけど、造剣は自分の魂の入れ物である虫があればどんな人間の体だろうと自分のものにできる。いいえ、あいつはそうやって今まで生きながらえてきた。造剣にとってさくらは初めからいつか乗り換える肉体だったっていうこと。
What will happen then? The thing that's possessing Sakura. If Sakura is changing because of her contract with the servant, then
造剣が私をさらったのはさくらには門を開かせる気がなかったからでしょうね。聖杯としての役割は私にやらせて、自分はアンリマユのマスターになったさくらの体を乗っ取る。そうしてゆくゆくは第三魔法の成功例、魂が物質化したアンリマユに乗り換えるつもりなんでしょう。完全な神を人間が自らの欲望で不完全な神に貶めるように。
心臓の定義、それは人の望みによって作られながら人の意志に影響されず生まれるもの。まあ確かに造剣なんかの人格を反映されちゃどんな神様も悪魔になるだろうけど、キレイが造剣を敵視してたのもそのあたりか。話は分かったわ。それだけ聞けば十分よね、シロ。
Tosaka's voice brings me to my senses.
じゃないわよ。相手の正体が分かって造剣の目的も分かったじゃない。ならあとは話し合うまでもないでしょう。
No need to talk it out, huh? She's right. The thing inside the Holy Grail. If it comes out, it'll cause the same tragedy as 10 years ago. No, it won't end there. If we let this happen, countless people will be killed. Yeah. The thing Sakura gave birth to will take many, many lives on her behalf. That can't be allowed. We just need to stop it. No matter the cost, I won't let Sakura shoulder the burden of any more lives. We'll stop our Raman-yu. We'll end this war before it can emerge from the Holy Grail.
納得いったようね。私たちは戦って勝つしかない。で、その方法は2つだけ。アンリマユとやらが出てくる前にマスターであるサクラを殺すか、アンリマユが出てくる前に大聖杯とやらを破壊するか。
If we want to save Sakura, we gotta destroy the Grail.
まあ確実なのは前者だけど、大聖杯を壊そうとすれば必ずサクラと造剣が立ちはだかる。2人を避けて大聖杯は破壊できないでしょ。となると結局マスターであるサクラを倒すことが一番楽ってことになる。
そうだな。さくらと戦ってアンリマユを引き離す。それが一番の近道だし、方針として分かりやすい。
へえ、さくらを狙うってことに反対はしないんだ、シロ。
今はそれしかないだろう。アンリマユとやらがイリアが言う通りのものなら人間に太刀打ちできるものじゃない。そいなら一番早くて確実な方法を取るしかない。それよりトサカ、戦いに行くのはいいがさくらの居場所は分かるのか？
それなら問題ないわ。イリアの言うことが正しいなら大聖杯とやらの場所は一つしかない。
Tosaka lands.
ええ、その通りよ。リン、アンリマユの誕生を間近に控えた今、造剣は大聖杯に戻っている。落ちた霊脈、200年前三家によって選ばれた始まりの土地、竜道寺の地下に広がる大空洞にアンリマユは受胎している。
竜道寺の地下。
That's the world where Sakura is. If it's the final destination of the Holy Grail War where we're headed. I sigh quietly and slightly relax my focused mind. The cold touch of the pendant in my right hand helps me collect my thoughts. We're going to fight Sakura. I meant what I said to Tosaka. But our ways of fighting are different. Tosaka probably means to finish this by killing Sakura. But I'm going to find a way to end this war and let her live. I jolt out of my reverie. A heavy pressure that makes it feel as though the air has turned to water covers the building. It's...
さくら。
Uh-oh. The instant we feel the shadow's menacing aura, we run out into the yard. We go out into the yard. The entire world is cloaked in shadow. My entire body shivers with mind-numbing awe and fear down to my fingertips. The black shadow is before us. If it wanted to, it could crush us along with the entire house. The difference in power is clear. It's transformed into a state unlike anything we've seen. That shadow does nothing. It isn't Sakura, but the shadow is shaped like her. The real Sakura is underground, beneath Ryudo Temple. The thing quivering in front of us is a false image modeled after her.
本人じゃなく影を飛ばしてくるなんて、ちょっと見ない間に偉くなったものね、さくら。
I'm not sure if it isn't hearing Tosaka's taunts or it can't hear our words at all. Sakura's shadow sways in the moonlight. It looks terribly lonely. Its eyes are definitely looking at me. Senpai, it says. It looks so meek that it might actually respond like Sakura always does if I hold out my hand. But I don't. I know what I have to do. I can't call out to Sakura and risk weakening my resolve. I look away. Sakura's shadow seems hurt.
イリアスフィールから話は聞きましたか、姉さん。
The shadow faces Tosaka, speaking in a cold, scornful tone.
聞いたわ。あんたに取り付いているものの正体も、聖杯から生まれようとしているものの能力もね。それでさくら、一応聞いておくけど、アンリマユとやらから手を切るつもりはある？
Tosaka's voice sounds the same. Her voice is cool, condescending, and thoroughly unimpressed.
ありません。弱い私はもう消えたと言ったでしょ。せっかく手に入れた力だもの。私はあれから離れる気はないし、できない。マとさくらはもうこうして生きるしかないんだから。そう。それじゃあもう一つ、そのあんたが自慢してるサーバントはどのくらい出来上がってるの？イリアはもうすぐだって言ってるけど、母親としてどうなのよ、その辺。もしかしてもう外に出てきちゃったとか？そんなわけないでしょ。あれが出てきてしまったら、こんな町なんて瞬く間に飲まれてしまう。そんなこと許すわけにはいかない。ここにはまだ先輩がいるんです。だから私が残っている限り、あの子は外には出しません。へえ、なんだ、なら急ぐことはないわけね。シローが私といる限り、あんたはアンリマイを押さえつけてくれるってわけ。よかったわね、シロー。
さくら、この分ならまだまだ元気そうよ。
ふざけないでください。私があとどのくらい持つか姉さん分かっているんでしょう。なら今すぐ先輩を連れて逃げてください。私はそう長くはありません。このままだといつ自分が消えてしまうかわからない。私が耐えられるのは今夜だけかもしれない。だからその前にこうして忠告をしているんです。姉さん、先輩を連れて遠いところに逃げてください。そうしてくれたら私は安心してあの子と差し違えることができますから。
Sakura says she'd take it down with her. Tosaka's shoulders tremble slightly. Does she believe Sakura, or...
いつ自分が消えてしまうかわからないか。それいつ我慢できなくなるかわからないの間違いでしょ、さくら。
姉さ
ん、まあいいわ。どうやってアンリ前と差し違える気か知らないけど、私がシロを連れて逃げれば心置きなく自滅できるってことね。聖杯の中にいるサーバントもその力を受け継いだあんたも一緒になって死んでくれるんだ。
そうです。だから逃げてください。私は変わりきる姿を見られたくない。先輩さえ離れてくれればそれでいいんです。だからもう私を追ってこないでください、先輩。
She makes a determined play. Sakura's shadow could kill me at any second, but she's earnestly asking me not to chase after her. I can't honor that wish. I refuse to leave her and run, and I won't let her kill herself either. And so...
行くわ。行って確実にあんたを殺す。
Tosaka severs ties with her blood sister.
当然でしょう。遠坂の魔術師として今のあんたは放っておけない。それに自滅するなんて発言も信用できないわ。気づいているの、さくら。あなたさっきから言動がめちゃくちゃよ。私を殺したいくせに逃げろだなんてね。ほんと四郎の前だからって言いこぶってま。
ですって。
あら、いい顔するじゃない。初めからそうしていればよかったのよ、あんたは。ね、話はそれだけ？ならさっさと消えなさい。慌てなくてもすぐに会いに行ってあげるから。いい？さくら、あなたは他の誰でもない。この私の手で殺してあげる。
Tosaka declares in a gentle voice. The shadow quivers. For a moment, Sakura's projection freezes like a statue.
ええ、お待ちしています、姉さん。
She lets out a lurid giggle and disappears. The shadows covering the house are gone. Only Tosaka and I are left standing in the yard. I feel dizzy. I meant to keep my focus, but seeing Sakura apparently shook me. It seems that Sakura isn't the only one running out of time.
シロ、さくらはああ言っていたけど、あなたはどうするの？このまま町から離れるっていうのなら止めないわ。まあその時は宝石剣を複製してから言ってもらうけど。
そんなこと確認しなくてもいい。戦いはやめないし、宝石の剣もなんとか投影する。俺たちは協力関係だろう。なら最後まで遠坂にできないことをフォローする。
そうならいいけど、分かってるのシロ。私と行くってことはさくらを殺すっていうことよ。宝石剣だってそう。あなたはさくらを殺す武器を私のために用意しなくちゃいけないのよ。
そうだな。宝石の件に関しては確かに矛盾してるけど、今の桜は俺たちの手に負えないし、剣を作るのは以前からの約束だ。宝石の剣を投影することで桜の影に対抗できるなら、それは絶対に必要なものだ。
それじゃあやっぱり。
ああ、遠坂の逆だよ。俺は桜を助けることで戦いを終わらせる。俺は桜にとっての正義の味方になるって決めたからな。
桜を生かすってことは、桜以外の人間をみんな殺すっていうことなのに。
まだそうと決まったわけじゃないだろう。桜を助けてこれ以上犠牲が出ない方法があるはずだ。
どうだかね。桜はもう何人も殺してる。それでもそんな人間を助けることがあんたの正義なわけ？シロ。
She alludes to something critical. It's an inescapable sin. Her words drive it into my chest, and I finally say,
そうだ。たとえ桜が人でなくなったとしても守る。そうなって自分を殺したがっている桜もひっくるめて全部から桜を守るんだ。俺がやりたいことはそれだけだ。誰かの味方をするってそういうことだろ。
I proudly voice my feelings.
臆面もなく言い切ったわね、あなた。
I nod, shamelessly.
そう。まあ何言っても無駄だとは思ってたけど、まさかこれほどとはね。正直負けたわ。
あれ、どこ行くんだよ、遠坂。
どこって、戦いの準備をしなくちゃいけないでしょ。桜があんな忠告するってことは本当に余裕がないってことだもの。
それはそうだけど、話はまだ。
話なんて終わったわよ。要するにシローは自分が生きている限り桜を助けるって言うんでしょ。いいわよ、好きにしなさいよ。もう口出ししないわよ。こうなったら納得いくまであがいてみなさいってのよ。
Where did all her tension go? Tosaka seems to be pouting, strangely enough.
けど勘違いしないで。これは宝石剣を作ってもらう交換条件よ。シローが頑張っている限り桜をどうするかはあなたに任せる。私の出番はあなたが動けなくなってからにしてあげるわ。
Oh, thanks, Rin.
それなら文句ないでしょ。シローの頑張り次第で桜は助かるかもしれないんだから。
With that parting remark, Tosaka goes off to the guest house. As I watch her leave, a big part of the anxiety gripping my chest seems to melt away. We're thinking in opposite directions, but Tosaka still wants to help Sakura, and she feels comfortable trusting me to do it. We both love Sakura. I think Tosaka will be able to help her start over. It's 10 p.m. Tosaka said that she was going to prep until midnight, and then head to the Ryodo Temple.
さて、今から宝石剣を投影してもらうけど、体の調子はどう？アーチャーの腕を押さえながら投影できる？
Oh, right. Ilya hasn't told Tosaka that I took off the Holy Shroud.
まあそれはなんとか。
お、頼もしいわね。じゃああとはシローとイリア次第。できるだけ宝石剣に似せたアゾット剣とシローの投影とイリアのサポート。うまくいけばオリジナルの複製とはいかないけど、半分ぐらいは能力の再現ができるはずよ。
Tosaka hands me a dagger. This is a knife for use in rituals. It looks well used. I wonder if Tosaka favors it. But not just that, even I can tell that it's charged with a massive amount of magical energy. It might just be a small handful compared to the shadow cloak of Sakura, but it's hundreds of times my own capacity.
すごいなこれ。遠坂、こんな秘密兵器隠し持ってたのか。
すごいのは当たり前。何しろ残った宝石を全部つぎ込んだ私の10年分の魔力なんだから。
Yeah, that's a lot. Tosaka pouts like she can't bear to let it go. Knowing Tosaka's personality, she might be someone who's really strict with money. Setting that aside,
けどいいのか遠坂。宝石を全部使ったら遠坂自身の予備はなくなるんだろう。お前だってまだ本調子じゃないのにそんなんで。
そうね、飛んだり跳ねたりぐらいはなんとか。けど魔術を使えるほど魔力は回復してないわ。
お前それじゃ。
心配無用よ。あなたがちゃんと宝石剣を投影してくれれば問題ないわ。その剣は突き落としさえ止めたっていう領域外の力なんだから。
I'm not sure what she's talking about, but Tosaka seems confident. Guess I don't need to worry then.
シロ、そろそろ始めましょう。いくらシロでもその剣の投影には時間がかかるわ。すぐに始めないと日付が変わる。
そうね、それじゃあ部屋に戻りましょう。落ち着いた場所じゃないと成功率が落ちるでしょ。
Tosaka beckons us to follow her to the living room.
あ、ちょっと待った。投影は土蔵でやる。それと投影中はイリアと二人きりになりたいんで遠坂は部屋で待っててくれ。
なんで？何かあった時大変だし、私もフォローに回った方がいいでしょ。
その必要はないわ。逆にリンがいると邪魔なのよ。シローは注意力が散漫だから。ここ一番でリンが転んだりしたら気が散って失敗するでしょ。
失礼なこと言うわね、イリア。
Tosaka groans grumpily, but she doesn't deny that she's the person most likely to make careless mistakes.
わかったわ。私は蔵の外で待機してる。それでいいんでしょ、イリア。
仕方ないか。それが精一杯の譲歩ね。リン、宝石剣を複製したいのなら私がいいって言うまで入ってこないで。事故が起きそうになったら声をかけるから。それまで何があっても外にいるのよ。
しつこいわね。分かったって言ったでしょ。たとえシローの悲鳴が上がっても中には入らないわよ。
The two of them casually bring up some very concerning examples.
じゃあ行きましょう、シロ。
Ilya enters the shed. I follow her when something hits me.
遠坂、この剣もらっていいかな。
もらうも何も、それを使って今から投影するんじゃない。宝石剣ができたらアゾット剣はなくなるわよ。
そうだな。宝石の剣は遠坂のものだから、その代わりにこっちを譲ってくれないか。ほら、失敗したらこの剣も壊れるかもしれないし、その時遠坂に怒られるかと思うと集中できない。
はあ、まあいいけど、それでシローがリラックスできるならアゾット剣をあげるわ。
サンキュー。じゃあちょっくら気合い入れてくる。
I close the door. I can't let Tosaka see what's next. She probably wouldn't stop me, but she would definitely feel responsible. The only way to alleviate that is to get some ex post facto approval with a sorry I actually used it once the Holy Grail War is over.
準備はいい、シロ。ハーチャーの腕を解放したあなたならもう手順を説明することはないわよね。
I gulp and nod. Ilya tells me to sit on the floor and I follow her instructions.
けどイリア、俺は自分で見たものかアーチャーが作ったことのある武器しか投影できない。宝石剣とやらの情報は皆無だ。いくら宝石剣に真似た探検と元になる設計図があっても宝石。
分かってるわ。シローにはまず私の中に入ってもらう。私だって見たことはないけど、私の中には宝石剣の記録があるわ。大聖杯を作り上げた時、遠坂の大師傅も立ち会った。かの魔導王が手にする剣もちゃんと見ていたはずだもの。
イリア、
いいから目を閉じて。シローの体はそのままで意識だけを別の場所に移すわ。前もやったでしょ。シローの目を私の中に移すから。 シローが中に入ったら私が左腕の拘束を外す。200年前の記録へ遡る圧力と左腕の侵食が同時に来るわ。気をしっかり持ってできるだけ早く投影を終わらせなさい。
Ilya's voice is shaking. I can feel her arms trembling as she hugs me from the front, too.
宝石圏までは私が連れて行くから、シローは息を止めているだけでいい。雑念は捨てて、余計なものは見ないで。シローは私の中からかのゼルレッジを抜き取ってくるだけでいい。
Space shatters. Is it because all 5 of my senses plunge into Ilya's internal records? Or because she undid the binding on my left arm? There's no pain. My pain perception plunges into layers of spinning pain, but it's eroded by damage to my body which doesn't correspond to pain. I don't know where I am. I don't know who I am. I don't know what this means. It's a giant circuit. Dozens of layers of crests adorn a stone mortar over 50 meters in radius. It's like I'm looking out across the landscape of Arizona through a huge telescope. Ooh. The circuits stretch out in multiple layers. Is that Irisfin? They circle around in geometric patterns. A pale girl stands in the middle of that beautiful spiderweb. Oh, her name is Justiz. Justiz Lizerick von Einsburn. She's the mage who established the Holy Grail War on this land. The Archmage revered as the Winter Saint, accompanied by Zoken Makiri and Nagato Tosaka. The Greater Grail is active. Justiz acts as the key, attempting to recreate an ancient magic. Without her, the Holy Grail would only be a Holy Grail. Heaven's field requires her will. The old man is well aware that in Makiri or Tosaka's hands, it would be nothing but a wish granted. My field of vision shrinks. The world zooms in. I cut my consciousness off from the excess. Because I cut my mind, my body becomes half its size. From the lower perspective of my shrunken body, the world is far too big. Eventually, I won't be able to see anything. How the 200-year-old ritual was created doesn't matter to me. I'm only here to see one thing. I contract my awareness again, focusing on the sword an old man is holding as he watches over the Greater Grail and its affairs. That's the original. A ritual dagger with a jewel for a blade. It glitters like a kaleidoscope, searing my brain and my eyeballs. I comprehend it in a single glance. I understand that I cannot understand it. All I can do is imitate the shape. I can only analyze its structure and project it. What magical theories are woven into it? I use Archer's arm and mobilize the entirety of the heroic spirit Emiya's knowledge, but the old man's dagger is an unexplored law of the world. It is from an alien planet, no, an alien solar system. The old man embodies common wisdom from the far future, which our young species has yet to reach. I'm repelled. I can't let myself be repelled. I can't reach it. I must reach it. I reach out. I reach out. I reach out. With scorched eyeballs and cerebral nerves, I reach out dozens of meters. I reach.
そこまでよ、戻りなさい、シロ。
Ilya's voice echoes. Not yet. I haven't even touched it with my fingertips. How am I supposed to leave like this? How can I leave after witnessing a miracle? A singularity?
諦めなさい。このまま消え去りたいの、シロ。
Reach it. Reach it. Reach it! I jump up, or something pushes me up. I float in the air and hit the ground. My left arm Pain. My tongue, finger stiff. The shaking keeps.
おとなしくすぐ正解向き
A huge kitchen knife stabs me in the side. It pisses me off, so I push away whoever was holding the knife. Oh. I realized that I just punched Ilya.
すまないイリア。俺は
I brush off the dust and stand up. Thank goodness. Luckily I didn't injure her.
バカ余計なものは見るなって言ったじゃない。まったくうまくいったから許してあげるけど、今度私の言うこと聞かなかったら承知しないんだからね。
Ilya scolds me, jabbing an accusing finger at my nose. Oh. I realize what she's talking about and look down at the hard sensation in my left hand. I projected it. I pulled it off, but it looks somewhat different than what I saw on the record. In fact, I can't feel a speck of magical energy from this sword. Tosaka's Azoth blade would have been dozens of times better than this. This blade doesn't even look capable of cutting anything.
そう小言はいっぱいあるけど、とりあえずお疲れ様しろ。投影だけなら完璧。火の打ちどころのない牽制を見せてもらったわ。
実感が湧かないんだけど、どうなんだよこれ。なんかヘボっちいんだけど。
それはそれでいいのよ。その剣はシュバインオーグの系譜のものにしか扱えないとびっきりの魔剣なんだから。
So it only had power in Tosaka's hands.
まあ考えてみるといいんがよね。さくらは第三の加護を受けてリンを若輩の身でありながら第二を駆使しようって言うんだから。教会の連中がいたら調査どころの話じゃない。各部門挙げての裁判沙汰になりかねないわ。
Ilya chuckles.
この探検そんなにすごいものなのか。
ええ、正しく言うのなら多重次元屈折現象、宝石剣キシュア・ゼルレッチ・シュバインオーグ。宝石剣ゼルレッチと呼ばれる魔導王の愛犬にして遠坂に残された家宝ってところ。と言っても遠坂に継承されたのは設計図だけで宝石剣そのものじゃないわ。それはね、遠坂の魔術師がもっと長い時間をかけてたどり着かなくちゃいけない魔法使いからの宿題なのよ。
魔法使いからの宿題って遠坂の言ってた大主婦って魔法使いなのか。
そうよ。けどゼルレッチは魔法使いの中でも頻繁に属性に関わる変人だから、弟子は他にもいるでしょうね。ゼルレッチ本人はこの世界にはいないようだけど、リンが自分の手で宝石剣を作れるようになったらひょっこりやってくるかもしれない。
Not in this world. Pop in for a visit? She makes him sound like some kind of wanderer who travels around for fun. But I got careless. My vision gets hazy when I relax. I clench my right hand and let the pendant dig into my torn skin. It keeps me awake. I try to steady my breathing without letting Ilya notice. My limbs. I can still feel my limbs. Thank goodness. I was afraid I'd lose something after even one projection, but I'm not missing any part of my body. My brain still works. The fact that I still know who I am is the strongest evidence of that. I should be able to manage one more projection. Not that I should try. I'm going to save Sakura using a different way than Tosaka. Now that I have Archer's arm, for the first time I can...
ってわけ。要するにね、大主婦の魔法栄光世界なのよ。それでついたあだ名がとか宝石王とかカレイドスコープとか。
遠坂。
I can't make out what she's saying. It's not that I can't hear her, but Tosaka's saying words I don't understand. She's using strange words and holding something scary in her left hand. Tosaka's holding a sword I've never seen. Never seen? That can't be right. I just projected that, I think. And my left hand is empty, which means I must have given it to her.
シロ、さっきからさすがにの投影は
I feel a terrible chill. My memory is going away. I can't remember. My understanding doesn't match the details. I clench my right hand hard. Blood drips, but I finally manage to focus my eyes.
遠坂
I stand up. My limbs feel light compared to my disconnected head. They're so light that I suspect my insides are empty.
遠坂じゃないわよ。私とイリアは試し撃ちをしてくるから、シロは少しでも体を休めて。ってどうしたのよその手。
Tosaka rushes over to me. She moves shockingly slowly.
なんでシロがこれ持ってるの？
I disconnect my mind and realize that she's holding my bloody right hand. Tosaka looks astonished, like she's looking at the pendant in my hand. She's looking at the pendant in my hand. I don't know why she's so surprised. I'm holding this because...
シロ、どうしてあなたがこれを持っているの？それにこんなになるまで握りしめてるなんて正気？
どうしてってお守り代わりに持ってるだけだ。これは確か
I found it. Where? It's something so easy and hard to forget, but I can't recall no matter how hard I try. Yet someone who isn't me, my left arm, it knows it better than I do.
その大切なものなんだ。それは肌身離さず最後まで持っていないと。
Words that aren't mine spill from my lips.
シロ、そのペンダントなら私も持ってる。
Tosaka takes a pendant out of her pocket. It's exactly the same. To a jewel user like Tosaka, this is probably an everyday sight. But she's so pretty, I bet an accessory like this would really liven her up.
へえ、そっくりだな。
I nod.
違うわ。私のは空っぽだけど、シロのは少しだけ残ってる。取るに足りない量だけど、それでも使われたからには意味があるんだわ。それ持っていて、何かの役に立つかもしれないから。
Tosaka puts her pendant away, then takes Ilia's hand and starts walking.
おい、遠坂、どこ行くんだよ。
私はイリアに話があるのよ。1時間だけ休憩をあげるから部屋でおとなしくしてなさい。それとその右手、今すぐ手当てしないと本気で怒るわよ。
Her bad temper is very nearly murderous. She goes off with Ilia, who also doesn't say a word.
いいか、助かったといえば助かった。
I need to figure out exactly what's wrong with me, or I won't be able to act. I'm still conscious. As long as I don't space out, I can be aware of my situation, like I have been so far.
で、どうしてこんなところにいるんだっけ？
I wonder why I'm in the shed. Sakura's warning. Sakura told us to run. Tosaka said that she'd fight. And then... Oh, yeah, we have to go to a cavern under Rito Temple.
それで竜道寺に行くのにどうして土蔵で倒れてるんだよ。
I fall on the ground. When I came to, I was sprawled out in the shed. My right arm throbs in pain. Thanks to that, I'm fully awake.
くそ、しっかりしろ、バカ野郎。
I stand up and check the feeling in my arms and legs. I don't feel so good. I'm losing something at an alarming speed. It isn't critical. I should be able to fight like I have so far until morning at least.
ひどい顔色ですね。私が認識できますか、シロ。
Ryder? I was wondering where you disappeared to. I gasp and whirl around. deep within the shed where the moonlight doesn't reach. A black-clothed servant stands in the dark.
ライダー、お前、今まで。
はい。ずっとあなたを監視していました。私の使命はエミヤ四郎の守護ですが、私の主はサクラです。あなたがサクラに危害を加えようとする以上、ですから、先の森ではあなたに手を貸さなかった。バーサーカーに追われたのは、あなたたちの自業自得ですから。
Ryder coolly explains. She's very businesslike. It seems like that she was waiting for me to be alone.
そうか。じゃあ、ここに現れたのは。
あなたを殺すためですね。あなたたちはサクラの敵です。なら、このままサクラの元になど行かせるわけにはいかない。
Ryder is holding her stake-shaped daggers. She inches closer, her murderous intent clear. Ryder's serious. Give her the answer she's waited for. I knew this question was coming eventually. What was it again? Remember. It was... Oh, right. Will you be on Sakura's side until the end? I remember. Before Ryder asked me a question under the stars. She wanted to know whether I would be on Sakura's side until the very end, no matter what. I couldn't answer back then. But now I can say it with pride.
ライダー、あんたがサクラを大切にしているのはわかる。今だって、俺を行かせたら、サクラが苦しむから止めようとしてるんだろう。
ええ。それが分かっていてサクラを殺しに行くのですか、シロ。
殺すためじゃない。救うために行くんだ。ライダー、俺は最後までサクラを守る。どんなことになろうと、サクラを選ぶ。そのために、あんたの力を貸してくれ。俺と遠坂だけじゃ、サクラを助けられない。サクラを本当に大切に思ってくれるなら、今だけでも手を貸してくれ。
それはいつぞやの質問の回答ということですか。
I nod silently.
いいでしょう。ですが、私は勝算のない戦いには赴きません。あなたは私に何を期待するのですか、シロ。
What I expect Ryder to do. There's only one thing. Out of all the servants in this war, Ryder is the only one with a noble phantasm that can resist Saber's noble phantasm, which is Sakura's most powerful card.
その前に質問がある。あんたの宝具は今でも使えるのか。
使えます。サクラは未だ私に魔力を供給していますから。
じゃあ次。サーバントは実体化していてもカテゴリー的には霊体なんだろう。となると通常の武器ではサーバントを傷つけられないのか。
そうですね。通常のサーバントなら無効化できますが、サクラに囚われたサーバントは別です。セイバーは肉を与えられ、霊体に戻れない生命です。強力な魔術品ならば、彼らがまとった黒い影を突破できるでしょう。
Alright.
そうか。なら決まりだ。賞賛はあるし、役割もはっきりしている。ライダー、あんたには1対1でセイバーを倒してもらう。具体的に言うとだな。
I whisper in Ryder's ear. It's not like anyone's listening to us, but I'm just being safe.
なるほど。確かにその方法なら突破できる。何しろ純粋な力勝負です。紛れが起こる心配もない。
だろ。まあ問題があるとしたらそれは
あなたの技量とあなたの技量を私がどこまで信頼できるかですね。
I nod. Ryder pauses for a moment, placing a finger on her lips in contemplation.
承知しました。あなたを信頼し、一時の主と認めましょう。
Then she agrees to my suggestion with a surprisingly lovely smile. Both hands on the clock point to the top. It's midnight, the time we agreed on. I wrap up the Azoth blade and keep it on my waist. It's my only weapon. The only other thing I take with me is the pendant Tosaka talked about.
シロ、リンが呼んでるわ。外で待ってるから、準備ができ次第来なさいって。
Ilya will stay here. It's true that Zoken's targeting Ilya, but it's also my wish for her to stay here.
そうか。父さが先に外で待っているのか。
ええ、早く来いって顔してたから、急がないとまた小言よ。
I nod at Ilya and stand up. My left arm doesn't hurt anymore. My functions as a living creature are just slowly being eroded. If I stop, I won't know what I'm doing.
それじゃあ行ってくる。エリアも気をつけてな。
行ってらっしゃいシロ。夜が明ける頃に、さくらとリンと3人で帰ってきてね。
I wave at Ilya and leave the room. The living room is silent. 10 years. So much has happened here. I've made a lot of memories. Much of it came recently. This morning's scene became so familiar to me over the last year and a half. The shed is silent. It's Shiramiya's tiny workshop, a place I spent so much time in. It was like my own bedroom. This is where I followed in Kiritsugu's footsteps and threw myself into training every night. When I fell asleep here, sometimes she would come to wake me up. It feels like it happened a long time ago. I can even remember the smell of the air. The bedroom is silent. It's a guest room that's only been used for the last several days. There aren't any memories here. But it reminds me of Sakura. I sigh and lean against the wall. I can't remember. I can't remember anything that happened in this house or anything I've experienced. And yet, when I walk through these rooms, Sakura's face clearly comes to mind.
呆れた。こんなに俺は。
How much Sakura means to me. It's a struggle just to stay conscious. My memories are all over the place. The 10 years I've spent in this house are turning into a haze. But there's something I still remember well. No matter what else I lose, the memory of Sakura will always be fresh in my mind. I heave a long sigh. What I need to do has always been the same.
さあ、行こう、さくら。
I anchor my disconnected mind and leave Sakura's room. I leave nothing behind. Once we made a promise here. We knew we couldn't keep it, but we said it to encourage each other. I'll make it again right now. It was a small glimmer of hope that we'd go somewhere together. And on that note, we'll end things off here. And in the next one, we'll hit the finale of this series. End off Heaven's Feel, Day 16. So, I will see you all then. Bye.